can hear whatever's happening in the background with you, so, you know.
Oh, I gotta mute me.
You have a radio or TV on, so.
Supervisor Pancrase, if you have your audio up on the meeting as well as your phone unmuted, it will cause feedback.
But we're trying to coordinate something here. Good morning, everybody. Everyone, this is the meeting of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors. This is a regular session. We're also sitting as all special taxing districts, and I think we're going to conduct an action today. So even we're going to do more things than that. This is the March 18, 2019, 9 a.m. meeting. Board members will attend either in person or by telephone. And in this particular case, Supervisor Pancrase is attending by telephone. Is that right, Lynn? Are you there?
That's correct. I'm here.
All right, so she's on the phone. The first item in the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Will everybody please stand up and face the flag, and Supervisor McLeod, please lead us on the flag.
Sure. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, good morning, everybody. This is a pretty different, very packed agenda, and I'm going to be moving some stuff around to get some people through it. Supervisor Pancrase is on the phone, and we have an item in the agenda that requires that somebody else call in, so we're going to have to disconnect Supervisor Pancrase for a little while, and then we have some action items that need to be taken care of, and then once they're taken care of, the process of getting the payments in through the treasurer's office is also a little complicated, so we're gonna have a break in between there. So it's one of those meetings where we're going to have to sort of navigate our way through them, okay? So be patient and we'll get through them somehow. The first item in the agenda is called to the public. If there's someone in the public that we hold this for the public benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified in the agenda. Pursuant to Arizona revised statutes, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to just directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further discussion and decision at a future date. That means that if you want to approach the board on an item that's not in the agenda, you need to come forward and give us your name and address, and we'll listen to your presentation, but we really can't make a decision. So the best we can do is sort of direct staff to take care of that matter or put it in the agenda so that the board can make a decision. Is there anyone here that wants to talk about an item that's not on the agenda sometime and further down the road? Would you please come up? If not, then we'll move on to the next item, which is presentation, proclamations, and appointments. During this segment of the agenda, board members may discuss the presentations and proclamations and may announce appointments to the Yuma County Planning and Zoning Commission and the Yuma County Board of Adjustment. No legal actions will be taken again. Any appointments? No? We'll move on to presentation, and our first item in the presentation list is the presentation of the Yuma County line by Yuma 77, the Yuma County Government Channel.
The elections and recorders offices will soon be working much more closely. Many students battle it out in court, but it's not what you think. And emergency management works with many different agencies to ensure our safety. These stories and more, this is your County Line. changes currently underway in our elections office will be a benefit to registered voters in Yuma County. Recently, your County Board of Supervisors approved a proposal presented by the Yuma County Recorder. It called for the complete integration of the elections office into the county recorders. The plan also calls for an elections advisory committee. By streamlining both offices, future elections operations would be easier to handle, considering that both offices have individual but related functions.
We have found some great ways to work together in a seamless fashion, but we feel that we could provide more transparency and be able to allow that to help us do our jobs more efficiently. And at the end of an election cycle, that's going to serve, of course, the county as a whole.
The integration of elections into the county recorder's office is already underway. And it's important to point out the elections portion of the recorder's office will remain in its same location. Recently, the courtroom heated up at the Yuma County Justice Center, but the attorneys pleading the cases might have seemed wise beyond their years. That's because high school students were honing their skills practicing law. Teams from Cibola, Lake Havasu, and Kofa High School competed in rounds presided over by actual judges from Yuma County and the state, including Arizona Supreme Court Justice Andrew Gould. Overall, the mock trial setting is designed to give students a better understanding of the legal system.
They come prepared to see the same case from both angles and to be able to decipher the strengths and weaknesses of it. So it's analytical skills, it's public speaking skills, and it's self-esteem.
And with that better understanding of the legal system, they can continue an education in law, hopefully to return to Yuma as attorneys. 2 teams from Cibola High School won the competition, which qualifies them to compete in a state mock trial competition in Phoenix. Yuma County is well known for its agricultural roots and leafy greens, but a lot of people may not know about ammonia use in farming. With this use comes a lot of safety considerations, and your county is working with other agencies to ensure our safety. The Yuma Area Ammonia Days is a group of local businesses, public safety, and local government agencies coming together to teach how to respect and appreciate this widely used chemical. Commonly referred to as Ammonia Days for short, local experts present on ammonia exposure, basic refrigeration, and safety response topics. Your county's Office of Emergency Management participates in the planning and execution of this annual gathering, so responders can be better prepared and coordinate in the unlikely event of an incident.
It's important that we communicate. Obviously, when emergencies happen, communication is one of the most important aspects of it. But working together and learning together is an important component of ammonia safety.
To find out more about these events and emergency preparedness, go to yumacountyaz.gov/OEM for more information. You may not realize this, but just to get one law enforcement officer ready to begin his or her career is a long process. A lengthy background process taking 3 months, then finding an academy in the state. It costs approximately $15,000 just to get one person ready to work in Yuma County. But that is set to change as a new program offered at Arizona Western College is underway. It was expensive to send cadets throughout the state to train so we could have officers on the streets. But now the county sheriff, City of Yuma, Somerton, San Luis, and Welton Police Departments and Arizona Western College have partnered to bring a full-time law enforcement academy to Yuma County to complement their part-time academy.
So not only is this academy saving us money, in the long run it's going to produce more officers to be on the road because the smaller agencies can now afford to send them to an academy. Where before, smaller agencies trying to spend $25,000 for one body is just extremely difficult.
The first 18-week academy is expected to produce 24 qualified officers each year. The academy will run Monday through Friday and is specifically tailored for cadets who have already been given a conditional offer of employment. This program is expected to cost under $4,000 per person, nearly a $10,000 savings. Hi, my name is Tricia, and this is your Health Watch. Opioid addiction goes beyond the use of illegal drugs. Doctor-prescribed opioids, like fentanyl, codeine, oxycodone, Morphine can also become highly addictive. In fact, the misuse and addiction to prescription painkillers, heroin, and synthetic opioids have become a national crisis. The faces of those addicted to opioids and dying from them include teenagers, parents, and grandparents from all socioeconomic backgrounds. Opioid abuse warning signs: 1. Mood changes. 2. Changes in eating and sleeping habits. 3. Doctor shopping, getting multiple prescriptions from different doctors. 4. Teens decline in academic performance and change in friends. 5. Pulling away from family members and close friends. 6. Confusion. Early treatment for opioid addiction saves lives. For further information, please contact the Yuma County Public Health Services District Injury Prevention Program at 928-317-4550. This is all for now. Until next time, stay healthy, Yuma. It's an unfortunate part of how county government works, but occasionally we have to auction off tax liens. They simply become too much of a burden on our budget. Recently, Yuma County held a tax lien auction. In short, this is what happens. After extensive efforts to work with the delinquent property owners, the county may have to sell the lien to an investor. The new lien holder then pays the owed taxes. Selling liens on property is the county's last resort, but if we didn't institute these measures, those who do pay would shoulder an even heavier burden. And tax liens are an efficient way of collecting delinquencies for all taxing districts within the county. You can learn more by visiting the Treasurer's web pages at yumacountyaz.gov. And finally, as we close this segment, a special announcement for anyone concerned about diabetes. The Yuma County Health District is holding 2 Diabetes Alert Days, March 29th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and March 30th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Free glucose blood pressure checks will be available to anyone attending. We'd like to thank you for joining us for this County Line. If you'd like to watch past episodes, log on to yumacountyaz.gov/VOD. And don't forget, you can join us live on Facebook. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. The next agenda is a presentation of a visitor study, 2017-2018, conducted by Arizona State University. Who's here representing the university? Well, won't you please, one of you please step up. All right, Paul, step up. And sort of
Good morning,
give a little
Mr. Chairman,
start.
members
Thank
of the
you.
board. Paul Melcher, Director of Economic Development Legislative Affairs. I'd like to introduce to you Christine Vogt from the Arizona Central Center for Sustainable Tourism. She has some staff members who are going to be helping her and assisting with the presentation, but I'd also like to recognize from the Arizona Office of Tourism, we have Kari Roberg, who's the manager, and Colleen Floyd, who's also in attendance today. So understanding that we're on a time crunch, Ms. Vogt.
Thank you, board. Thank you, county staff. So my name is Christine Vogt. I'm a social scientist and I direct the Center for Sustainable Tourism. And working in cooperation with the Office of Tourism, it's important that research gets to the county and the community level. And this study is an example of that. Linda Morgan and the Visit Yuma has had several research studies done over the last 5 to 10 years. This study was really aimed at a further understanding of the snowbirds or winter visitors that come to the county. These are some of the questions that we asked in an effort to help Linda and the state with better marketing, with Paul Melcher and county folks in terms of planning, and then importantly, the Office of Tourism uses these results to help other counties in the state. So as a researcher, we have to come up with an approach to doing this research. Snowbirds sort of flock together in certain places, but there isn't always a list or a way to access them. So we came up with a series of 4 studies. First, we worked with Leslie at the Visitor Information Center to get a shorter survey out to those that were stopping at the Visitor Center during December to May winter time period. We also came to events, and we picked 3 prominent events in this winter time period to also do a short intercept study. Most of the effort was spent on studying those who own property And property could be a sided house, it could be a mobile, it could be a lot where they're pulling up an RV. It came in a lot of different forms. And then we also worked with Linda and others at this list of RV parks that are members of the CVB, and trying to work with a few of these to participate in our study and get surveys out to their customers. So this presentation gives an overview of some of the results, and we're going to try to go as fast as possible. So you have our executive summary. We have this PowerPoint presentation, and then we've also rendered about a 60-page report. And Linda Morgan, Paul Melcher, and the Office of Tourism have reviewed that report, and we're close to sort of issuing that final version. So if you would like to see a deeper dive, you could request a report from them. An important element of our research is that when we were at these events, the visitor center and RV parks and so forth, we used a definition of what is a snowbird. And we worked with both the county as well as the Office of Tourism, and also reviewed the literature. So we were all in agreement that 30 days or 30 nights or longer is someone that is considered a winter visitor. And some of our respondents even said, we're not a winter visitor, we're a winter resident. Or we could call them a snowbird, okay? But all these individuals sort of mean the same thing. We, in our report and just a few of the slides, we've also rendered the results from those who stay less than 30 days, and we called them a winter visitor. And some of these individuals are day visitors. Some only stay a few nights, but these individuals also showed up in our sampling frame, and we wanted to be able to provide that data. But the focus of the main report is on snowbirds, people that are staying 30 nights or longer. And one sample that we wanted to share with you, that the home and mobile owners, again, are those people that own property. So they have a stake in the county, they're paying property taxes. We got some data that shows how many people actually came. Just because you own doesn't mean you come year after year. And it's also a sample where there's constantly people dying, selling, moving. So the county now has some numbers about just the behaviors of these, again, individuals that own property, more or less are using a mailing address that is not from here. And we made sure we surveyed them after the season, after their full visit. So Jada now is going to provide some geographic context of where people come from.
Morning. Yes, so these next few slides provide an overview of where they're coming from, and we've broken it into winter visitors, who are the folks who have stayed 30 days or more, and then the winter tourists, who are a duration less than that. So what you'll see very clearly on this map is that a lot of folks, about almost a third, are coming from Washington State, followed by Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, and also several people from other parts of Arizona as well. So here, switching to winter tourists, the under 30 days, many more people coming from California. So we did notice a noticeable flip there, which makes sense based on just geographic convenience.
So someone from Hawaii is coming over as a winter visitor.
A few. Well, one travel party, and then we had a few from Alaska. For the tourists.
I don't get it.
So, you know,
Each his own.
I've been to Hawaii. I don't.
Maybe they were getting too humid there.
They're a little bit confused.
Right. So this gives it more of a global perspective, although it's still limited to only kind of a couple quadrants of the globe. So we did have a few travelers, at least, coming from the United Kingdom, but for the most part, we're seeing the United States and Canada. And what that really broke down to looking like is from our RV sample, about a third of the visitors were coming from Canada. When we looked at the homeowner population, it was a bit less. It was about 13% that we estimate. So now for the under 30 group of winter tourists, global perspective, kind of similar, but we did have a little bit more geographic diversity with some travel parties coming from South Korea, Australia, and some various parts of Europe as well.
Good morning, everybody. So from now, I'm going to present about our demographics. So in terms of age, the most common age group of Yuma winter visitors is belong to 65 to 79 years old. More than 2/3 of the the Yuma winter visitors belong to this group. And as you see, about 18% of the home mobile owners, they indicated as the highest percentage of the oldest group. And in comparison with about Yuma full-time resident, the Yuma winter visitors is more older. Before that, we didn't include this, but I think we have to mention about travel parties. About 3/4 of the RV park and the home mobile owners, they just traveling with their family. Especially also 1 in 10 in the RV park visitors and home mobile owners, they are traveling with friends or their family. Okay, regarding to gender, about event and the visitors at Visitor Information Center is gender, a female is dominant. But for the RV park visitors and mobile home owners, there are quite gender ratio is balanced, which is very similar to Yuma full-time resident. About education level, an increasing number of Yuma winter visitors, they attended college. Also, very few percentage of the Yuma winter visitors in the RV park or home mobile owners, they are indicated that they are very low percentage. They indicate that no diploma in high school. In general, about Yuma winter visitors is more educated than about Yuma full-time resident. As you see about ethnicity, it's Yuma winter visitors is predominantly white. About 98% about home mobile owners, they are white, and the 92% of RV park visitors are white. Okay, it is very important about number of years they are continuously coming to Yuma, because it means about Yuma is attracting place to continuously attract winter visitors as a repeat visit. When you see about visitors at Visitor Information Center, about 1/3 percentage of this group, they indicate it's their first time to visit Yuma. But when you see about mobile home owners, only 1% about they just indicate it's their first time to visit Yuma County. And when you see it should be noted about 21% about homeowners, they said they're gonna had come to Yuma more than 21 years. Okay, we ask about what different type of housing accommodations they have lived while they are staying in Yuma County. 61% of the mobile home owners that they indicated the second home, and 18% about they indicate this group they indicated their residence is as owned space at RV or mobile home park. Very interestingly, about 1/4 of our mobile home owners they said they lived on the space not at RV park. In terms of RV park visitors, majority of the respondents, they stayed in rented space RV or mobile home park. Again, very interesting, about 13% about this RV park visitors, they are lived in campground. We are asking about a top 10 leisure activities they are staying in while they were staying in Yuma County. As other Yuma visitors, as other visitor study, shopping is #1 leisure activities. Especially events attendees, they just select the shopping that they're most likely to do as a leisure activity, followed by walking, hiking, biking, sightseeing, touring, also their favorite leisure activities. But very interesting about no matter what their sample study, about half percentage about all respondents, they selected visiting casino as their main leisure activity. We ask about have you ever been what attraction they think they want to visit or they plan to visit. And as you see about top most attraction is historic downtown Yuma, and followed by Martini Lake for fish landing and about Cocopa Paradise question casinos. But very interesting, 1/3 of RV park, compared to homeowners, they selected the top 3 their favorite attractions is Yuma Quartermaster Depot and Imperial Sand Dunes, and the Castle Dome Mines Museum is also their favorite leisure attractions. So that's really about my part. Are gonna move on to Christy.
So of the populations we studied, probably the most challenging was this RV and mobile home park. In the tourism world, hotels participate in what's called a Smith Travel Research Study, or STR, and often a community will have like a survey going at the visitor center, and then they'll compute the total number of visitors from the Smith Travel Research, and then what percentage at the visitor center said they stayed in a hotel. And we did the same, and Jada is going to share the results of our population counts. But nothing exists like this in the RV world. And we were told that there was a statistical report that someone used to do this at a county level. But this made this study particularly challenging, in that we didn't, or really didn't, feel like we had the access to go to all 45 RV parks and ask them, what is your occupancy rate, your turnover, and so forth. So we really tried to use the data we could get our hands on and triangulate things to estimate the total number of individuals and travel parties at RV parks. We did get these 4 RV parks to cooperate in terms of passing out surveys to us. 3 of them did it by using a paper version of the survey. One of them actually used their checkout system, and a week before people said they were leaving, they sent an email version of the survey to individuals, and people filled it out that way. But we got about 350, 400 surveys back from RV resorts. So the Palms, actually, Bill Evans is on Linda Morgan's board, and he revealed to us like how many people actually used his sites, and we were able to calculate a turnover rate, which helped us sort of finish up our population estimates a little bit better. But all in all, we used the visitor center counts and imputed what our population was, and then we use these other data sources to sort of fortify it. So our estimate for 2017-18 season and winter visitors, meaning we're excluding people that stayed less than 30 days, is a bit over 70,000 persons. And on average, I'd say travel parties tended to have 2 people. But the focus of our study, again, is really on people that own or are coming here with the RV. And as you can see, some people say that they're camping, but may not actually be in an RV, like bona fide RV or mobile home park. And then there are some that stay in rented apartments, private residencies, and hotels. We did not full-on study them because that would have taken more money. We dedicated our resources to really those populations that we thought hadn't been studied here and were a little bit harder to reach. Okay. So who's not here today is the economist that I worked with. She's a colleague in my department. She's done economic studies for the state and in counties. And what she did was she took those population estimates, and then in our survey, we asked people to tell us how much they spent. And we gave them sort of a set, like 10 categories in which to report. And this was a challenging proposition for both them as well as us. Challenging for them because many stay 3, 4, 5 months, and we were asking, in total, how much did you spend? Many of these people, 85, 90 years old. And so that, too, I think was a challenge for some of them. And after we keyed all the data, I literally had to go through and like look at every survey to really understand what their story was and sort of what the strength of our data are. And I mean, I'll share with you, I mean, like some people, like I had one person that was putting their church tithing, amount, but not everyone did that because we didn't ask them to do that. Some of the RV folks would put their, some of the homeowners would put their property taxes, and we didn't use that. And I didn't ask that of everybody. So we did our best with how we asked the question to try to really tease out. But a lot of people gave us a lot of information. Some people were like, this is just too hard for us. Or some people said, I think I spent $10,000 in total. So then we looked at how other people spent and sort of exploded out that 10,000. So it was a really challenging economic effort. But in the end, those who own a house, a townhome, a condo, a cabin, or have a spot with a mobile or RV in an owned context. And 3 of the member RV parks actually have owned properties. We estimated that at 40 million. And then those that drive a RV here or may have a mobile home, but it's more of a leasing situation, that we estimated just under 140 million. And this is direct spending. Oh, no, this is direct spending. We thought you might be interested in how people spend. And so on the left are those who home own. And some of them are still paying RV fees even though they own their property. But by and large, they spend most of their money on restaurants, and particularly groceries is about 40% of their budget. On the RV park side, as you'd expect, 40% of their spending is on these RV rental prices, which can get up to $1,000, per month. And they also spend a fair amount on restaurants and groceries. So these numbers can help various sectors in your county sort of better understand how they're benefiting from these 2 travel populations. And then here is our estimate of total economic impact. So this is more sort of output where the economist is using what's called an in-plan model and taking that dollar spent and then looking at the multiplier. So more industries that benefit locally, then this number gets higher. But we did have, for instance, 5 people reported buying a car. And so I've included that in the report as an add-on. And that number, the spending and the output is pretty much the same because you guys aren't manufacturing cars. It's just a dealership type of situation here. Okay, so again, these economic numbers can help you with your planning and sort of talk about the large size of this industry. Okay. We've added in these models, you get some other numbers like jobs and local and state taxes generated as well as federal. And in the end, we estimated about a 2.5 multiplier effect with these snowbirds coming into the area. And then I've added the note, again, we asked a series of questions about categories that they spend in, but sometimes people would slide in a property tax estimate or a medical or tithing to a church, and we did our best to try to sort those out. I worked with Paul, and those who own, it's about a $15 million property tax value for those people that do not live permanently in the county. We're almost done.
So on our survey, we also asked about visitor satisfaction and intent to return. And here's some data that we think you all could feel really good about, because looking over these items about satisfaction, you'll see the mean score there on the far right. That all indicates that everybody felt, for the most part, on average, between agreeing and strongly agreeing with these positive aspects of visiting Yuma. So that's really great to see. It made our some of our analyses a little bit more difficult because we wanted to compare groups, and we really couldn't because everybody loves Yuma, it seems. So that's great. This next slide looks at intent to return and also positive word of mouth about the destination. Again, really positive scores in that mean column on the right. So keep up the good work. That's the main message there. So we also asked some open-ended questions regarding if there was anything that could have made visitors stay in Yuma even better. And within the RV park sample, responses having to do with roads came up. Makes sense, they're recreational vehicle users. But some other themes, recreation was a common response across many of the categories. Generally that pertained to, it seemed like whatever pursuit the respondent took part in more often seemed to pop up there. So we had some people commenting on tennis, golf, hockey, you name it. Looking where you see environment, that tended to address a wide variety of things, from concerns about climate change to air quality to water quality. So some broad issues there. And then moving on to if there was anything that might hinder these folks from returning to Yuma County in the future, not surprising for our older demographic of respondents, health and age came up as some of the key factors that might prevent them from returning. Lastly, we asked what public or private facilities would you especially like to see developed in Yuma County? And again, some responses having to do with fitness and recreation facilities. One thing that came up a fair amount was people have requested better paths for biking or walking or taking dogs out for strolls, that type of thing. Also, a common response was having more places to go out to eat or to go shopping, and that's probably going to be something you hear in a lot of different communities. So that brings us to the end. We appreciate your patience here and open it up to any questions.
Hi, guys, do you have any
I
questions?
have a couple.
Yeah.
The $15 million number that you referenced, was that total assessed value, I assume?
I think it was the annual property tax payment by these homeowners.
You have to get up here so
Oh, I
that.
think Paul's going to answer.
Yeah, okay, all right. But if you have an answer, you need to come up to the podium because you're off camera there. There you go. Both of you stand right there. And whenever one needs to answer, the other one can.
So, Mr.
Right
Chairman and Supervisor McLeod, that was the total assessed value, wasn't
That's
the
right.
actual
Okay.
receipts. Yes.
Right. Thank you very much.
Other question?
Yeah, I have another question. This one's really deep. Did anybody you surveyed dislike the term snowbird? Or do they kind of?
Yes, and a few people said, I'd rather be called, or we call ourselves winter residents.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of pushback on that term. I'm not surprised. Thank you.
Especially the people from Hawaii. They probably didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. Thank you. That's the question. Any other questions? If not, then thank you very much. It was very informative, and it's nice to get that information out to the community so they realize that, you know, we certainly benefit from them coming in here. We certainly appreciate them coming. Them meaning not the winter visitors, but the, what do we call them now? Winter visitors, right? Not snowbirds, excuse me. Not the snowbirds, but the winter
Visitors.
The winter visitors. Thank you very much.
I have a comment too. I've noticed on the list of RV parks that you surveyed, I think you got a good mix of the
We thought
different
so, too.
types of RV parks. I think you guys did a great job. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you, Paul. All right. And the next item in our agenda, and you can remain if you want to be, if you want to or not, right? You don't have to.
They're not going to stay.
Yeah, I want to give you 2 minutes, you know, for some sort of a organized exit. Was it something you said, Supervisor McLeod?
You know what? They might like visiting Yuma, but not the board.
I saw something about foreign tourism in there. I wanted to ask a
Yeah.
question about what is that? Okay, if anybody's back there that, you know, would like to, there's places in front to sit, you know. Come on in. Because the next presentation is where we hope to be located in a few more months, right? All right, the next presentation is on the Main Street project. It's a presentation on 197 Main Street Concept Plan by Chris Thompson of Thompson Design Architects and Arcadis Project Management.
Good morning, Chairman Reyes and
You don't look like
Supervisors. Dave Hillen, Director of Facilities Management. And unfortunately, I'm flying solo this morning. Some unseen circumstances prevented Chris from being able to join us this morning. And
You didn't send him his payment, huh?
he sends his apologies for that, but I told him it would be okay this one time. I should be able to cover it. What we're talking about this morning here is we want to review the concept design for the project. This is the Phase 2 project across the street at 197 Main Street for the Board of Supervisors, the new Board of Supervisor auditorium and offices. You could start, you just go left to right, I think, in order. We'll start here, actually. This is a portion of the plan. Again, so we met with our design review team, which consists of Supervisor McLeod, Supervisor Pancrazzi, County Administrator Susan Thorpe, and the directors and heads of the departments involved in this project on February 25th, along with our architect, Chris Thompson, and reviewed and approved the concept plan. And from there, we wanted to present it to the full board just for informational purposes. This is, we're starting off here with an overlay. This is a portion of the proposed floor plan on the first floor. The lighter yellow area is a replication of this room that we're in today, the existing Board of Supervisor auditorium. and the darker gold color in the background is the new auditorium space. You can see it's substantially larger. We currently have a seating capacity of about 50 chairs in this room where we are today. Across the street, the seating capacity is going to be right around 100 seats. The actual capacity per code is actually over 200, but we would never have that many people in that space. But we should be able to double the space that we have for seating for board meetings.
How many you said? 100?
We're looking right around 100 seats.
100 seats.
Yeah.
So
Depending a little bit on the arrangement, you can actually kind of see in the back that furthest back row probably wouldn't really be set up that way, that close to the back wall, but you counted, what was it, 96 chairs did you count, or 98, I believe, on this diagram. So, and those are to scale. And you can go to the next one, please. So again, two things I want to caution a little bit about here. There's a lot of colors on this drawing. This is the entire first floor of the facility across the street. And again, this represents a concept plan. Everything across the top. I think there's a pointer on here. I'm not sure which one is the laser. Is that one? Yeah, right there. Okay, so this area up here is being managed separately. We have, in working with our recorder and our treasurer and our assessor, we've identified 3 potential remodeling projects to help their facilities or departments operate better. Those have been submitted as CIP requests this current year, so they're up for discussion right now. They are not included in the budget of the remainder of the project on the south portion of the first floor. So in talking about what we're proposing here on the south side, again, the primary component of the project is the boardroom. With seating, of course, for our board members and administrative staff. We're looking at moving our communications department into this area in blue, as well as this little green box up here as well. That would consist of a lobby off the main hallway, and the large area here represents both a studio and a workroom, which really is a great improvement over what they have now. On the other side of this wall is their studio, which is a multi-purpose room. They're doing their studio work and production and editing and all kinds of things in one space, plus a little closet back here. So we would be expanding their space quite a bit. And then across the bottom down here in gold, again, we have 5 offices for the supervisors, an executive meeting room in the corner, a flexible workspace here in green. So this would be shared by various departments on an agenda basis. Again, the green area sort of represents common space or shared space. So access to this area back in here would come through the hallway and would join up with the lobby here, which also has access out to the south to 2nd Street here. We're working to reconfigure the space a little bit. We've come up with a new arrangement that would have 2 individual restrooms located in this area, a small kitchen area, and then access control doorway back into the hallway. We're also looking at some modifications to the election services area in the front corner here, which would involve relocating the vault area to the outside exterior wall and opening up this area inside the lobby, just off of the lobby here for, again, various functions, and working with Robin with the elections processes. We're really looking to improve the way that we manage each step along the way and provide space for all the various functions that they need to do. And then lastly, I guess you go to where's the assessor's office?
Right there.
On the 3rd floor, yeah, up above.
Parking lot.
Underground in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Well, there's a portion of it here. This is the 2nd floor assessor's office. Again, these 2 areas, we're looking at, actually, we're not planning on any changes here in the recorder's office on the 2nd floor. There's just some cubicle partitions being purchased, again, outside of this project for the assessor. Can you scroll down a little bit so we can see more of the bottom? There we go. So what's part of this project here, again, is primarily the area in blue. This is a continuation of the communications department area. This is on the mezzanine level, which doesn't have real high ceiling heights, but it's sufficient. This space here, this is actually be open to the studio below, so the studio space would be essentially 2 levels in height, which would allow for some light and that sort of thing that takes place above. And then we have 3 offices, meeting room, and some cubicle workspace area here as well. Some of these areas in green would be add alternates to the project if the budget allows. Well, this should take place storage, and that should be blue actually. But this green area here is additional restrooms that if we're able to, we'd like to incorporate that as well. And then again, along the south side here too, we'd have access to the mezzanine from the first floor on this stairway here, coming up to a common lobby area, if you will, with the possibility of including additional offices along this wall as well, as needed. And that pretty much covers the extent of the scope of the project. So we are at a point now where we're ready to move forward with detailed design. Forgive me, and we are working with Chris on a fee proposal for that. We have issued actually the RFQ, request for qualification for construction manager at risk services, and that is due back on April the 4th, at which point in time we'll be assembling a committee to review those submissions and choose contractors. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the board?
Yeah, would you go back to the first floor plan? Yeah, there we go. So just for the other members of the board, there, or the boardroom, if you look at on the left side where the double doors open, you'll see that black square there. That's an existing column.
Oh, this here?
Yeah, and they believe they can take that column out and then perhaps open that area up for a reception desk.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate the way it worked out here. If you can scroll just a little bit to the left so we can see the front doors. As it is now, when you come in through the front doors off of Main Street, you're headed dead center for that column, and it is a little bit tight on either side. So we hope to be able to eliminate that and support it on either side of the hallway.
And then the purpose of the putting a reception desk there is currently election services is an information center, and we get interrupted constantly.
Yes.
First window
so
when
we
you walk
could
in.
alleviate that.
That we get a lot of foot traffic from both doorways, actually, the entrance off of Maiden as well as from Main here. So that was actually one of the purposes of this space as well, is to provide a direction to people, trying to locate the elevator to get to the assessor's office, what have you. But yes, additionally, we'll be looking at an option to do something similar.
That'll make the building a lot more functional, a lot easier for people that visit it.
Thank you very much.
No,
good.
That's good. It looks good. If you double the size of capacity, that's really that was to me the main purpose of going there. If you make it simpler and easier for everybody to work there, that's great.
Yeah, and I think even in this space too, we'll have a higher ceiling across the way and just have that larger sense of volume and space.
Yeah, and even if that pillar can't be removed, it can be made to work. I mean,
It'd be nice to get it out of there.
Yeah, but it may be one of those bare,
I think they can.
They put something on either side of the wall, I would think that would hold it.
Could be. All right. Well, no, it's good to have so much progress, and if the members of the committee that worked on it feel that they have done the best they can, then who are we to question that one?
Oh, well, Supervisor Pancrazi owes me $50 because she was wrong about the chairman not complaining about not having a bigger office.
What?
We're just checking to see if you're fully awake out there.
He's still there.
Yeah, you.
I believe this for this.
I'll give you the $50 later.
Inches or so.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Perfect.
All right. No, I don't think we have any major question. I mean, if you have a question or something, you can always address it. I mean, it looks good to me, the preliminary design. It's just a matter of the time it takes to get anything done. But
Lynn has a question.
Oh, Lynn, are you calling for a question or a comment?
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment. I'd also like to do something about the green floors that are in there. And so, as well as the changing of all the buildings, the floors need some work, so.
Yeah, no, I think that will probably be handled through the process, through the construction process.
Yeah, all the finishes and final details will be sorted through. Like I said, we're just starting the detailed design, which will run for the next several weeks, so we'll have time to address that. I would have to agree that the green finish on the cement floors is probably not the most desirable.
Well, green's a nice color.
Oh,
right.
but they're already chipping up.
Yeah,
So-
you don't need a decision from us. This is the presentation item. So, there will be some time to talk about the finishes, I think, a little further down the road. Lynn? Lynn,
Okay.
when you speak, get closer to whatever, speaker you have or the phone that you have, because we lose you a little bit and we don't want to do that, right?
Okay, I'll speak up.
All
Is
right,
that better?
thanks. Thank you. The next item, thank you again. And the next item in the agenda is actually an item that I think I'm going to move up for a little later because we have a very full agenda and Lynn is in the phone and I'd like to get some stuff done before we get to the auction, because the auction will require for us to stop for a little while and I don't want to keep people longer than I have to. So we're moving up to the consent calendar. There's 1 through, I think it's 21. There's 21 items in consent. So is there any items in consent that any of the board members want to pull? Any? Four. Item 4. Going once, going twice, 3. Item 4, we'll pull item 4. I'm practicing for the auction thing. So item 4 is the only item. So I'll entertain a motion then to approve consent calendars, item 1 through 21, with the exception of item number 4. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, it's been motioned by Supervisor Pancrase, seconded by Supervisor Simmons, that we approve the consent calendar with the exception of item number 4 as presented. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carries. We'll then take on item number 4, which is the County Administration Grants, adopts resolution number 2019-11, approving revisions to the owner-occupied housing rehab policies and guidelines, which supersedes our previous policies and guidelines adopted from May 21, 2006 to 1/22/2019. Is there a,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor McLeod?
I was looking at this, the revision that you made based upon feedback from the state about the property being sold by the heirs. And it looks like if they don't pay within 6 months, we start trying to require them to make payments. Why not simply place a lien rather than going through all those gyrations?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Nancy Nye, County Administration. We had, we do put a lien on the property, and the whole issue came up regarding if the property gets transferred, gets sold, the original owner passed away, and when we submitted the revised guideline to them, I guess there was some confusion, so we had to clean it up a little bit. So the lien is still in place here. It just means that we go through the process, and if there is a hardship case, then they can appeal for removal of the lien.
Well,
I thought we had that discussion some time ago.
We did.
Yeah.
My apologies. The state came back and said
That's right.
their preference is this method.
process.
And we viewed it with county attorney's office, and they felt that this was appropriate.
When have you ever known government processes to be less complicated?
Yeah. It's just
Whenever you come up with some simple, common sense solution, there will be a regulation against it, so.
Yeah, it's never
so,
simple.
so the lien exists,
The
but
lien exists.
we're going to try to get them to make payments. Okay.
There's never a
okay.
payment
Yeah, we've been through it.
provided they live in the home. The original.
And I think the important thing is, you did try to make that change, because I know what, what Supervisor McCollum is talking about. We've gone through this before, and you try to make that change, but the state, and the federal regulations sort of are more lenient than I think that, we sort of like to make people more responsible for things, and, so it was a good try.
I just thought we just sit on the lien until someday it'll sell.
Yeah.
But
I remember
Okay.
this. Yeah,
that's fine.
it was included in the death portion of the thing. What happens when you die, type of thing. Remember?
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
All right. Well, you answered the question, and that was you try to make that change, but the state balked at it, and we just don't want to, create an additional problem by having us fight a resolution that essentially, it's statewide. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve item number 4 on consent as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's motion and second to approve item consent calendar item number 4 as presented. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
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 Anybody opposed? I have to wait. The next item we're taking up is item number 1. And the reason we're taking up item number 1 is because I don't want to lose, it's an item that will require a 5-member vote, and I don't want to lose Lynn for some particular reason or not if she tries to reconnect after this. Because as you well know, Lynn, the next item, you're going to have to allow the human resource people to connect to someone in Phoenix. So we'll take up item number 1.
Yep.
Item number 1 in the discussion and action items is our items that the board will open for separate discussion and action as appropriate. And it's a county administration item. It's to consider a request from City San Luis Municipal Court Magistrate to purchase Yuma County Vehicle 4245, which is a 2009 GMC Sierra 4x4 crew cab truck. The VIN number is there. At less than fair market value, it is the vehicle that was used by the constable, by the current constable, and he's, I guess, got a new one, and the court just wants to see if they could get it from us to continue using it for court purposes. Before we go on, do you have anything to add to it?
No, Mr. Chairman, I don't have.
Okay. The process requires that we go through a discussion about any item that we will dispose of for less than fair market value. Normally, the process that we would follow would be to put that item in what we call the surplus. In other words, we will determine it to be surplus, and then we put it up. And for a long time, as long as I can remember here, we've always asked that cities, other government entities, nonprofits, and so forth have access to those items first before anyone else. That's the normal process. And in this particular case, what makes it a little different, at least to me, is the fact that this vehicle is equipped with law enforcement tools in there, equipment in it, and that essentially we probably had to take them out before we put them in surplus. So the court is interested in using it for court applications that would basically use that equipment. Judge is here, Naomi Echeverria is here. The process will require that we make a motion, and then every one of the board members has to vote in favor before we can dispose of that vehicle that way. The fact that you asked for it to be a $1 thing, I think made it a little difficult for us, but we can work that out somehow. I think we're all willing to help, but it's just that process of $1 for a long time signified donation, and we can't donate any of the property that the county has, according to the attorneys here. So is there any discussion or any questions from the judges here? Any questions or discussion about this item?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the $1 item. And remembering that the monies that we get from these vehicles is how we intend to fund our vehicle replacement program. So in the spirit of being extremely generous, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we ask the court to pay 10% of the appraised value, which would make it $1,150. Any
other comments? 10%? Well, actually, the appraised value is kind of high to begin with. I don't know if you ever get, $10,000 or $11,000 out of a, 2009 vehicle. But do you have any problem with paying a nominal fee?
I do not. May I speak?
Sure. Of course.
Thank you. And good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I recently obtained the position of magistrate with the city of San Luis. When I became the magistrate, our courthouse funds are in negative numbers. We currently don't have a vehicle. As a matter of fact, the vehicle was very unreliable and it just broke down. And it's at the shop and it's going to cost us more money to get the vehicle. And the opportunity of this truck came along, and when I made the request for $1, I apologize if it was insulting.
No, it wasn't insulting.
We currently...
Judge, before you go on, don't take it wasn't insulting. It was just the way that Supervisor McLeod sees things, sometimes a little twisted. That's insulting. That's insulting right there. Go ahead.
But I appreciate the time and the willingness to cooperate with the city of San Luis and the court. And if we'll be happy to pay a nominal fee or what it's required, but because a vehicle is not a luxury for the court, it's a necessity. And so I appreciate the time and whatever value you put, then we will come up with the money somehow.
All right. Well, we're aware that we've done it before. We set a value. I think we did it for the town of Welton at one time. And if I remember correctly, a long time ago, I think the prior judge, Judge Morales, asked for a vehicle. I think we worked our way through that one. And I don't want to mention the fact that it was probably for $1, you see, because I don't want to open that up. I just want to make sure that this is done and that, the court sees that, we're more than willing to help out. I think the difference between then and now is what you've just heard, that we're creating a fleet program and that there's different people in there. And then now those vehicles have the resources, the money that is generated through those sales are now going to something specific. So there's a little bit of a difference then, but the willingness to work with the courts is there. We've always had it, and we think that it's great that any of the vehicles that we have can end up still being used by another entity that needs them. And that it's part of a government entity, and the court certainly fits that bill. So, if you're okay with it, we'll take a motion and then we'll move it on.
Yes, thank you so
And
much.
the motion was to sell it for 10% of the quote appraised value that is set up right now, which
The
will be,
estimated fair market value is 11.5.
so $1,100.
Sure, I'll drop it even more.
1,000? Going,
I'll amend my motion that
it was that second?
we sell it for $1,000.
There wasn't second, so you second. Lynn, are you following the discussion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, because he needs to have everybody vote for it. So there's a motion and a second to sell the vehicle for less than fair market value to the court system in San Luis for $1,000. There's a motion and a second. I'll take a roll call vote.
Supervisor McLeod.
Aye.
Supervisor Porches.
Aye.
Supervisor Simmons.
Aye.
Supervisor Pancrazi.
Aye.
Chairman Reyes.
Aye.
Motion carries
So,
unanimously.
fine, we'll go through the process and make it available to you as soon as possible.
It's going to be with the full tank of gas?
Everything. That will be the other $100.
You know what? They might even let you make payments.
No problem. Thank you
No
for coming
lifetime oil
over.
changes.
All right, that takes care of item number 1. Item number 2, Lynn, is going to require that you call back in a little while. Are you following us through any other means other than phone, like Facebook or something?
I'm watching you on our website.
I
Yes.
can't hear her.
We can't hear you, Lynn.
She's watching it on the website.
You're watching us?
Oh, I'm watching you on the website.
All right, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask you to sort of, cease your call and allow, who's going to be calling in? Oh, sorry, let me open the item. The item is to approve the plan 2019-2020 medical premium rates. She came up effective July 1st with a 2% overall increase, no plan changes, and a 1.5 dependent contribution shift as recommended by the Yuma County Employee Benefit Trust Board. Felipe?
Good morning, Chairman Reyes and members of the board. Aaron Perkowski is going to be available from Siegel Consultants just to be able to answer any questions that you might have in reference to the presentation. The presentation was presented to you on February 13th at the Yuma County Board of Supervisors retreat. At that time, information was discussed of the various different plan options that we currently have. We have 3 plan options: a PPO option A, a PPO option B, and a high deductible health plan health savings account. What we presented at that time for you was an overview of the information that highlighted for all of our employees of our current benefit offering, which you should also have in your packet. What Siegel identified for us is that when we look at our overall claims and for the past year, and they actually go back approximately anywhere from 12 to 18 months based on the claims that we have, our current plan will, and with our current contributions, we have $14,386,000. But in order for us to incur any other additional claims based on the current spending that we have, we will need an overall of $15 million. And so there's going to be a difference of the increase that is needed for our plan is a 5.1%. We wanted to be able to present to the board based on the information that we received from that retreat, that see what we would be able to use with regard to the excess that we might have in our plan. we identify that we have over a $2 million excess, and we want to be able to use those funds appropriately based on the information that we gathered and based on the information that you also had asked us to reach out to our employees and get information back from them. So what we presented to you at that time is we have a plan option with no plan changes with the 1.5% dependent contribution shift. Then we also presented to you another option that included additional benefit changes with a 2%, bless you, 2% overall increase with no plan changes, a 1.5 dependent contribution shift. This information here is highlighting for us what we would want to be able to do with the excess of the $2 million to give an overall 2% increase to the plan. We would be able to eat into our excess reserves of $450,000. What does that mean to the employee? What we wanted to be able to provide to you is that you have a sheet there that shows to the employees, which we have communicated this information to our employee health team committee. We also asked the committee to reach out to their employees the questions that Supervisor Simmons asked us to ask the employees. What did they think about their current health plan, and what would they like to have in their health plan? So we received, I would have to ask Myra, was it approximately about 20 responses, and we have a representative from each department and office, but we got back 20 responses, and many of the responses were, please don't take away the SSA Mexico benefit, which we aren't, and that if you could look at our plans with regards to not to have a large increase. And that's where we identified for our employees to hear what they view as having a large increase. So we wanted to be able to identify what is the increase overall to the plan. You'll see on your additional spreadsheet that you have there, it shows you that if we were to increase the overall plan by 2%, our employees under an employee-only PPO option, that would be an increase of $1.40 per month for them. Per paycheck, that's 70 cents. If we have an employee and spouse PPO, that's $18.72 per month, $9.36. So we found that it's a lot easier for the employee to see what is the dollar amount that is going to increase to my paycheck, so that this way they can see that they're still receiving an excellent benefit plan, but also what that cost would entail. This information we also presented to the employee, to the Yuma County Employee Benefit Trust, to be able to identify this information. So with that information, this is where we bring it back to the Board of Supervisors to see from the Employee Benefit Trust and the Employee Health Team Committee. The overall recommendation is to have the 2% overall increase with no plan design changes, and then have that continuation of the 1.5 dependent contribution shift for FY 19 and 20. With that, I would open up any questions that you might have for me, as well as I believe that Aaron would be on the phone as well.
Aaron, are you on the phone?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Right. Now, we've discussed this during the retreat, and it basically we got to it by following the comments and advice that was given to the benefit to Felicia and us. It sort of implemented that change. And the only thing I'd like to clarify is that one of the things that really came out was the fact that every once in a while when we talk about a 1 or 2% increase, there was some, I wouldn't call it confusion, it's just that some people hear that and a percentage and sort of, for some reason, connect it to the percentage of the salary increase. And so it seemed like it was a little confusing because people thought, well, if they increase it 2%, if the health plan increases 2%, and we get a 2% increase, they offset each other. They're not the same thing. That's one of the reasons why we decided to emphasize the actual dollar cost of this, actual increase, which is it's a really minor increase considering that insurance rates across the country are increasing by 10%, 8%, 12%. We've been able to hold the line for now what I would consider to be a long time, and it's really great that we can actually continue to do that at the same time that we try to avoid not making any adjustments and waiting too long to realize that we're losing too much ground and that at some particular point in time, it's going to catch up to us. So this is the best recommendation that the benefit trust team can make. I hope I'm a member of that team, and the presentation was pretty clear, and I think this is the best option that we can give the board to make a decision on. Okay? Okay, I'll entertain a motion then. If you don't have any questions, to go ahead and implement it. And this will be implemented beginning July
1st of
July 1st.
2019.
And where will the benefit fair be? Sorry.
Good morning, Myra Alexandria, Benefits Manager. The benefits fair will be April 19th and April 20th. And we're going to start announcing that after this board approval. We'll be starting our educational sessions to all the departments and centralized locations to help members understand the new benefit plans that are coming along. Not the new benefit plans, but just a refresher of their plans.
All right.
So we look forward to having employees attend to that.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Sure, question.
Yeah, just a comment or a question. But using the reserves, was that an option, or as I recall, it was Supervisor McLeod that brought it up?
Excuse me, excuse me, Chairman Reyes and Supervisor Porches, that is an option, but if we were to not utilize the reserves, then we'll have a very hefty reserve, and at any time when our auditors review our current balance, it is also doing our due diligence, because we just need about 6 months of salary savings for us to be able to administer and deal with our program in the event that we were to decide that we would shut down the program itself.
Let me ask the question again. When you made the presentation at the retreat, was that an option, or was it the result of Supervisor McLeod made that comment?
It actually is a combination, because originally it was an option, but we had some additional changes with regards to the percentage for the employee. So we went back to evaluate what that overall cost would be, so that it actually increased the amount that we were looking at previously, and to be able to utilize those reserves.
There was a question that was brought to the benefit team about, okay, you know, I mean, we had choices to make, right? It was just a suggestion, and that we didn't make a decision during the retreat. It was just, you know, we took the comments that we thought, you know, most of us had sort of not agreed to, but were, you know, leaning towards. And one of the statements that was made, it was made by Supervisor McLeod, that, you know, he kind of felt that, you know, when we had an opportunity and we had so much savings, that we use some of it to offset the possible cost increase, which would have been around, I think, 5%. I think we started with about 5%. And how do we get it to a point that we balance this out between the county and the employee? And what we came up with was a combination. We're not using all the $2 million reserves. We're just using some of it. And we think that this is a sort of a balanced approach. We're not saying, okay, we'll use them all to offset and, you know, lower it down, but we're saying we'll use some of it and make sure that it's a fair deal where the employee gets the benefit of the additional reserves, and at the same time they understand that this is a process that's, you know, we're looking at the long-term health of the program, not necessarily this year.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, to that point, the comment that I wanted to make was I appreciate the board, you know, listening to that suggestion. We're using up less than 25% of the overage. That's what we pay Siegel for. And that was the presentation that we received, was if we were $2 million less, if we had in reserves $2 million less than we do today, we would still be considered fully funded. And so to me, this is a very modest use of that overage. And I want to emphasize that's $2 million over what we should have. So fortunately, you know, HR folks have been doing a good job with the wellness and keeping the claims in check where possible. So I, you know, appreciate the board agreeing to go with that, and staff and the benefit trust team. I think this is a best use of taxpayer dollars. We're saving $450,000, and I don't think we're coming anywhere close to being irresponsible with our reserves. Not even close. In fact, I would hope we could anticipate doing this again next year. Of course, we'll see how the claims fall out, but I would want our employees to know that use of that reserve is by no means putting anything at risk.
No, it isn't. And not only that, but there are some, no, I wouldn't call them issues, but I think that there are some things that we need to look at in the future. For example, how effective are we in using the Mexico option? And, there's a cap on that. And a lot of people are getting to that, the cap. It used to be larger and now it's smaller. And to use that to offset a lot of the cost that is incurred in the American side by having more employees use the Mexican option is something that we looked at and we may consider in the future. I did mention that once. People, when those comments about losing that option, were made, I mean, I don't know why, but, those are the type of things that we look at when we look at the overall health of the program. Any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the item as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been motion and second to approve the item number 2, I guess, as presented. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Let's try to get Lynn back online. Aaron, that was not very much you could do, but thanks for being available.
Was there if you need me. Have a great rest of your morning.
Yeah. All right. Well, you save a long trip. So. Okay, we're gonna move on to item number 3. We're gonna try to get this thing done so we can go back to the auction and get that off. Item number 3 is Development Services and Building Safety Division. We'll hold a public hearing to accept public comment, followed by possible action to adopt ordinance number 2019-01, amending the Yuma County Comprehensive Building Safety Code to conform to the City of Yuma's code, and to adopt ordinance number 2019-01 effective April 22nd, 2019.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Pat Headington, Building Fire Code official for the county. I'm here to present ordinance 19-01. We sent some information up to the board members. Hopefully you found that helpful ahead of this. So why are we doing this? The City of Yuma has updated its building codes as of November 21st, 2018 by adopting the International Building Code 2018 edition, along with the residential code, the existing building code, and a swimming pool and spa code, which is its first adoption cycle. All the 2018 edition, including some local amendments. So what we're doing and why we're doing it, the primary purpose of these building codes is to provide minimum standards to safeguard the life, health, and property of the citizens of our county as it relates to the construction and occupancy of buildings and or structures. So some of the benefits, they help protect property value. Our homes, our properties are an investment, and going in with these minimum standards just helps us assure that those investments are maximized. What we are finding also is that lenders and insurers may not recognize work done without permits. We're doing more and more research with real estate folks and mortgage lenders who are doing their homework before they're financing or transferring property. Reduces the potential for unsafe construction and supports a resilient community. Communities are able to recover from natural events at a faster pace. And there again, it just establishes that minimum standard, which is a consistent baseline for construction in our community. So the Arizona Revised Statutes, ARS 11-H61C, outlines the 2 options that the county has for adopting a building code. So we can adopt any code that is published by a national organization, or we can adopt the same building code as the largest city within our jurisdiction. Since 1998, Yuma County has adopted the same building code as the City of Yuma. This just helps us provide consistency throughout the county, throughout the area, with our code adoptions. The city building official and their staff and I, we have a great line of communication, very open communications, and quite often talk about the applications just to make sure that we are consistent. So probably the most significant change for us in the county is going to be some adjustments to our seismic zone. As we were going through this, we are finding that the lines that kind of separate our seismic zones are moving about 12 miles to the west. And I have this mapped just to kind of help demonstrate where things are currently. So if you kind of look at this map, the line on the other side of the Gila Mountains there is more or less the line that identifies seismic zone D. And what it's doing, whoa, it's moving about 12 miles to the west.
Makes the foothills in that area.
And so this is going to have the effect of opening the door for a lot of alternate materials and methods that are identified within the code, or some standards of construction that will no longer require engineered design because of the seismic D designation. Okay.
Wait. Go back. Are you not saying that? I mean, is the D designation less stringent than the C designation?
The D designation is constructed to a higher structural standard than the C is.
What, that area that is now on D, what did it used to be on? C or E?
The area that's, so if we look back here.
Okay.
Right now, everything to the left, to our left as you're looking at the screen, including the foothills, would be in seismic design category D.
All right.
D sub-0.
So, okay, so what was on the right side? C? C.
What's the zone on the right?
C.
So, hang on just a second, I'll get there.
Okay.
All right, so our seismic D is moving. As we start looking at our seismic C designation currently, if you kind of draw a line, use your imagination from about Stone Cabin through Roll. That's kind of the line that designates seismic design category C. Well, it is also moving. And will now put the town of Welton
in C.
In seismic design category B.
Which, as you go DCB, is it less restrictive?
Less restrictive as far as the seismic requirements for the structure of that building.
So the bottom line is that as you move up, I would say, or down, in this particular case, to me, down means going from D to C and B and so forth. The restrictions are less onerous. Is that what it boils down to?
For the seismic provision.
For the seismic provision.
For the seismic provision, that's correct. What we're going to find is the design that's going to more critically determine how a structure gets built in seismic C and B are going to be the wind provisions. They're going to take over and be the predominant designing factor going forward, not the seismic.
Well, that's
so
anything we can do to improve.
Yeah. It is somewhat less restrictive for both residential and commercial for us. It does mean staff is going to have to learn some new stuff. And just in the fact that we get to play now in 3 different seismic zones, or at least 2 and 3 different wind categories. So we're going to have to, and opening the door to some of these newer materials and methods, we expect to see some benefits from that also.
All right.
This is a historic day that we reduce.
What a concept, right?
Amazing.
So before
I
you
don't think we did it. Let's just make it clear. Somebody moved those lines. I mean, whomever did it.
Before Yuma County was just D and C, more or less.
For the most part, most of our development took place in either seismic design category D or C. Supervisor Simmons, that's correct.
Now there would be a B.
Now we have a B.
Which is less restrictive, which should be good.
I even have to declare a holiday.
We'll continue because this is not taking us anywhere.
So some of the other changes that are taking place within the International Building Code, there is also a reduced wind speed designation. Currently, our wind speed designations are for Category 2 buildings that are 115 miles an hour, and that's coming down to basically 100 miles an hour for the county on average. So that is a small reduction also. Interestingly enough, that same reduction somehow did not spill over to the residential side, which typically those two are linked. So I continue to look for an errata that is going to identify that adjustment. We have not seen that as yet. So Clarification and some expanded occupancy classifications. We do actually have a project that has been reviewed and approved, is ready to issue, that is already designed under the 18 codes. They requested to be considered under the 2018 codes because for their occupancy classification, it provided them some benefits and some options. We approved that 6 months ago as an alternate design method. So Chapter 4 has been expanded to include some specific occupancies. Chapter 5 has been completely restructured. In my opinion, it made it a little bit easier to use, a little less math involved for all involved in the design process and the review process. And a lot of our local amendments have been carried forward. The residential code, there again, Chapter 3 has been expanded to include solar energy systems and some required access to roof area when solar systems are installed there. Some of the energy provisions have been adopted as they were written in the code, and the reason the city did that is these options, some of these requirements have already just become standard place in our construction community today. So, there were also some changes to the electrical system. This is probably in my opinion, would be the most costly change with coming forward of the residential code. Just some additional circuitry and the expanded requirements for arc vaults. So some of our previous amendments there again have been carried forward. The existing building code, we don't use this a whole lot, but it does include some provisions for changing occupancies and repairs. It also includes some provisions for historic buildings, relocated buildings, and more important for us is unreinforced masonry in our seismic area, which, as we just talked about, just got a lot smaller. So. And as we mentioned, this is the first adoption of the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code. The biggest reason for that is the Code Council took the barrier provisions that were previously in our residential code, pulled them out and created a separate document that includes those. And so that's where it's at now, and that's the primary purpose for its adoption is so that we can capture those pool and spa and our barrier construction requirements. Staff recommends adoption of the 18 IBC, IRC, IEBC, and the ISPSC. The Yuma County Building Advisory Board held a meeting December 18th with a vote of 3-0 recommends adoption of the 18 codes. And the Planning and Zoning Commission held its meeting January 22nd and with a vote of 8-0 recommends the adoptions also. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, that completes my presentation. I'll entertain any questions if you have any.
Do you have any questions? I mean, I think we made our comments in the middle, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Pat. I'll entertain a motion.
I have a question.
Oh, we have a question? Oh, wait a minute. We have to have a public. But we will do this. Go ahead. I think Lynn's back online because I can hear the background.
I am.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, yes.
Just out of curiosity, what's the penalty if the county does not conform? We just continued on for 2 years without changing our building code. I know statute says you should do that, but there's no penalty attached to it, is there?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor McLeod, I am not aware of any penalty clause.
I'm not advocating that we don't do that, but the thought occurred when I was looking at this, and I just wondered, of course, based on your presentation, I think the relaxation of some of the regulations, I think that's great. You know, it's always been something
yeah.
I advocate for.
I don't think we know enough about the other changes to be really making a determination of whether this is going to be less restrictive or more restrictive. I think it's going to be less restrictive on the seismic
Let me back up here,
but
and the
all
reason
the new regulations that probably, we're probably amending, it's going to, it's really difficult, Pat. I wouldn't want you to go through, everything because I think you did a good job of just summarizing the major changes. But I'm sure there are changes as new regulations are adopted. I mean, normally we adopt more. There's always almost no time where we adopt new regulations that take, old regulations out. It's just unusual. I think that the only thing that we can say about this one is that there seems to be some benefits from adopting this in the fact that some of the more restrictive regulations having to do with seismic requirements or building requirements are going to be released, not released, but are going to be reduced a little bit.
As I recall, and going back here in my mind, Supervisor McLeod, to the language in ARS 11861, I believe what it says is once zoning is established, a county may adopt a building code for the unincorporated area. If the county chooses to adopt a building code for the unincorporated area, these are the two options that we have for adopting a building code.
No, I understand.
But I believe the optimal word there is may adopt.
I think once you do adopt it, though, there's no going back. Yeah. Anyway, Mr. Chairman, public hearings.
I gotta open it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul, stay there, just in case there's questions from the public. Are there anybody, I'm opening this item up for the public hearing portion of it. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address the board on any of the matters that have been discussed right now? If not, then I'll entertain a motion. I'll close this public hearing and entertain a motion from the board to either approve or disapprove the item.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the item as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Then a motion and second to approve the item number 3, as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
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 Okay, that takes care of that item. We're not gonna take up item number 4. We're gonna go back to the bids, the auctions, excuse me, the auction, because I think people have been waiting long enough. I mean, we could go on for a long while, for a long time, without doing this. So let me open up item number, the property auction. The auction of real estate held by the state of Arizona by tax deed within Yuma County. And this, let me read the instructions before you go in. Do you want to say anything before we start? No? Okay, let's read the instructions. First of all, we have to read a disclaimer of the warranty, and this is basically on the lines of the County of Yuma makes no warranties, express or implied, as to the status of the property sold during this sale, other than that is property which is being deeded to the state of Arizona for failure to pay taxes and is being sold as such pursuant to law. The County of Yuma specifically makes no warranties as to the existence of ingress or egress to said property or to the existence of any state or federal or any other governmental or other legally established existing rights of way or easements which may exist with respect to said property. In other words, we cannot assure you entrance or exit for this property. The said property is sold by the County of Yuma pursuant to law, and the County of Yuma is not authorized by law to insure or warrant title to said property, and expressly does not do so. The purchaser is urged to investigate the legal status of the title to the property, its suitability for the purchaser's use, and its insurability prior to purchase. If you wish to make a bid, you must register and obtain a bidder card from Dunia Federico at the counter. Dunia is right here. Bid payments must be received in full by Yuma County Treasurer's Office by 12 p.m. on Tuesday, March 19, which is tomorrow. Basically 24 hours, a little over 24 hours if we finish before noon. Successful bidders must pay bid amount plus a $25 fee per parcel to prepare, record, and mail to the county administration staff who will issue a receipt. Only cash, check, money orders, or personal checks will be accepted for payment. Failure to make payment will void the transaction and return the parcel to the list. Please wait until the break to get the printout for the amount that you owe. These will be mailed to the address noted on the bidder registration form within 60 days. No deeds will be issued on the day of the auction. Chairman of the board announces each parcel in number order and requests a minimum bid of 100. So it doesn't matter how much that amount is. We'll start with $100. If received, the highest written bid will be used as a starting bid. Please do not write or damage the bidder cards in any way. Turn them over to Dunia Federico or leave them at the counter, or there will be consequences. I don't know what. Please, no food. No food. Silence your cell phones. If a phone call is necessary, please step outside. We don't want to know which one to talk about. We'll take a couple of 10-minute breaks if this takes too long. Normally it doesn't. I'll call the parcel number. I'll tell the bidder to hold up the bidder card and call out his bid amounts, and we will use increments as we see fit. At least $25 bid increments will be used. I'll be calling for additional bids. I will acknowledge the highest bid, and then we will resume with the next parcel. During a break at the end of the meeting, I will seek a motion from the board to accept or reject all bids. Lack of a motion rejects the bids. After entertaining a motion and a vote and the group of parcels bid on, I will call a recess, okay? While staff prints receipts for bidders, and then we will continue with the auction process. I think we have two. Well, we actually go to the Board of Adjustments at the end, is that correct? Or we go to the Board of Equalization, right? At the end. But this is just the auction for real estate. Now, everybody that's here that has a bid card will be able to participate. I'll be calling the parcel number. I don't think we need to mention how many taxes are owed. Is that correct? Because in reality, that's not going to be the opening bid. So Supervisor McLeod here will write the bid amount, and then we'll wait until the end and make a motion to approve or disapprove all of them, okay? Are we okay with everything? Is that, not too complicated? All right, then let's begin the process.
Chairman, I'd like to make an announcement before we get started. Good
This
morning.
has to do with the bidder cards.
My name is Unia Federico. I spearhead the tax deeded property auction, and I want to bring to your attention parcel number 632-46-157. It's about midway on the auction list. Staff is recommending that that parcel be removed from the auction list so that we can give the adjoining property owner a chance to bid on that parcel. If you grant that request, the Department of Development Services would send a letter to that property owner to gauge interest, to see if they're interested in placing the bid. And if that's the case, they can bring the bid to me, and then I will take it to you at a regular future board meeting.
Okay, which one was it?
632-46-157.
Okay, we're gonna take that out of the list and go through a process to see if the next door individual is willing
Interested in
to
placing a bid, yes.
place a bid on. All right, any other questions from us before we begin the bidding process? Does everybody have a bidding card?
And don't tear them up.
And remember to turn them forward, okay? Because I can't tell the back. All right, I know the county treasurer is here. I can barely see her head over there in the corner. She's on the table. She's more than ready and willing to take your money. She always is. So we will begin with parcel number 16623-008. I will entertain a motion, a bid of $100 for this. Is there anyone here? Bidder number 8 is got $100. Anybody 125 for this? Bidder number 9 is 125. 150? Nobody? Bidder number 9, 125. 150. Bidder number 8, 150. 150, 175. This is a great parcel. I haven't seen it, but they tell me so. Bidder number 9, it's 175. 175. Come on, this is a very good deal. 175. 200. Bidder number 2 is 200. So it's the highest bid right now stays at 200. It's now 200. 225. I'll take 225 anytime for this. 225. 200. Come on, 225, guys. This is a great parcel. 220, 200. We're at 200. 215, maybe? 205? 200 and what? 225. 225 there for parcel number 166-23008. Interesting parcel. 225. Anybody? Come on, bidders. I mean, there's 225. I'm talking about parcel number 166-23008. 225. Anything else? 225. 225. Now it was bidder number 9, right? So 225 going once. 225 going twice. All right, I'm not going to say sold to because I got to wait until the end, but we'll take your bid and write it down and wait till the end until we, because we have to have a motion and a second by the full board. So we have a bid for 225 on, and it's bidder number 9, right? You writing all this down? If there's any mistakes, you'll be responsible for it. Next parcel is 555, my favorite number. This is going to be good. 33-026. And do I hear a bid on this parcel? Okay. I got 3 bids. Hold on a minute. We'll begin with 100. Who's 100? Okay, 125. 125, bidder 11, 150. 150, I want 150, bidder number 1. Oh, 300? 300. I got my skills are diminishing right there when you put 3 fingers up. 300. 325, number 11. 325? I don't know. I'm looking at her. She's got a bid up. 325. 325. 325, bidder number 11. Come on, bidder number 1. 325, 325. Where's the 350? 325. Well, I know that.
I'm not bidding again, I'm just letting you know.
I know. I got you. 11. Bidder number 11 has bid 325. Is there any other bids on this parcel? No other bids on this parcel? Bidder 11, 325, 350? 350 on bidder number 9. You got to put that card the other way because I think it's 6 sometimes and it's 9 the other time. So 9, bidder number 9. Let's do it. 354? 375. She's too sharp for me now, right there. 375 from bidder number 11. Come on, guys. 375. Go to 400. It's a good deal. 375. 400. Come on, bidder number 9. 400. You're making this painful. 400. 375. 11. 400. Nobody? Okay. 400? No, 375. The same bidder. You're not bidding against yourself, are you? Okay, so it's 375 once, 375 twice, 375. We'll take that. 375 now is bidder 11. So we're now going to parcel number 555-33029. I'll take a bid of $100 at least. Number 1 bidding $100. Number 4 bidding 325. I mean, not 325. That was pretty good though. So we're now at 150. So you raise number 8. Did you raise your bid card? No. So we're at 150. Is there a bid for 175, guys? A bid from number 9 for 175. Come on. A bid from number 4 for 200. Number 4 is at 200. Is there any other bidders here? 200. Come on. 200. 225. That's easy. That's $25. You can have this. Okay. 225 from number 9. Is there 250? 250 from number 4. Anyone else? Come on. Anyone else? We're at 250, 275. This is a good deal. 275 from number 9. Come on, number 4. Okay, 300 from number 4. Number 9. How can you 4 is a lower number. You got to go up. 350. 350 from number 9. Number 4? 350? 375. 375 from number 4. Come on, guys. Come on. Who's next? 375. 375. 400. Go for 400. It's a good round number. It's good. Number 4 is always a good lucky number. 400. Anyone? 400? No? 375? 375 from bidder number 4. We'll move on through. I got excited. I think I bit myself. 555, 42, 146. I'll take a bid of $100 for it. 100 from 11. Come on. 125. 125 from number 9. 150 from number 11. 150, 175. 175 from number 9. 200 from number 11. 200 from number 11. 225 from number 9. 250 from number 11. 275 from number 9. 300 from number 11. Come on, number 9. So where are we?
325.
325 from number 9. 350 from number 11. Come on, guys. 375. 400 from number 11. 400. 425. 425 from number 9. 450 from number 11. Come on, 450, 475, 475, 475 from number 9. 500 from number 11. 525. No? 500, 400, 500. 500 from number 11. 500 from number 11 going once, 500 going twice, 500 from number 11. The next parcel is 555, 43, 148. Oh, no, wait a minute. I think I skipped one. It's 156, right? That's right. 555, 42, 156. Is there a bid for $100 on this parcel? Number 8 bid $100. You bid 125. Number 11 bids 150. 175, anyone? 175 for this parcel? 175 from number 9. 200 from number 11. 200 from number 11. Is there 225 somewhere in there? Number 9, 225. Number 11, 250. Come on, number 9, 250, 275. 275 from number 9. 300 from number 11. Is there 325 somewhere in there? 325 from number 9. 350 from number 11. 375 somewhere? 375 from number 9. 400 from number 11. Is there a 425 in there? 425 from number 9. 450 from number 11. 475 from number 9. 450 from number 11. 475 from number 9. I went backwards.
We should be at 500.
We should be at 500? Well, 500 on number 11. Is there a 525 offer there somewhere? 525? No, 525. 500 from number 11 going once, going twice, gone. So number 11. The next one is 555, 43, 148. I'll take $100 for a minimum bid. Number 4, it's $100. 125 anywhere? 125. 125 from number 9. 150 from number 8, I hope. No? 125, then we remain at 125. 150 from number 4. 175. 175 from number 9. 200 from number 4. Is it 225 somewhere in there? 225. This is a good parcel. It's in Camino del Sol. Even that name is really. I know where it's at. I think it's in the foothills. No, it isn't. Ma'am, you're at what? What am I at?
250.
250? 250? 275 for number 4. Come on, $300. This is a good parcel. $300 for number 9. Is there a 325? Just lift it up because again. Okay, 325 for number 4. 350? 350? 350? Still in the 300 range, 350. Number 4's got 325 on there. 350. 350 from number 9. 375 from number 4. 375. 400. 400 from number 9. 425 from number 4. 425. 450. Is that a 450 that we're in? 450. It's pretty close to quitting now. 450. 450 for number 9. That's getting a little high there, but it's still a good deal. 450, 475. Now you can have it. Yeah, there you go, 475. You can have it for 500. It's easy. No? 475. 475 once, 475 twice. Sold for 475.
Number 4.
Number 4. Where am I? In the 149 now? 555.
Yes.
43, 149. This is also a lot in El Camino del Sol. Let's begin at $100. $100 for number 8. 125. 125 from number 4. Come on, number 9. You got to get more of these parcels. Number 9 is what? Where? 150? 175? 175. 175. 200. Number 4. 225, number 9. Come on, 225. 250? 250 now? 225?
No, you're going backwards.
250. No, I said 225. No, I'm at 220. You're at 250, right? 275. 275. 300 is an easy number. 275. 300. Nobody offers 300. 275. 300. 300. Okay. So, are we 275? Still 275. Anybody? 300? Nobody? Okay, well then, 275 going once, 275 going twice, 275, number 4. The next parcel is 631-56080. It's in Sun Valley States. I'll begin the bidding at $100. Anybody? $100 from number 8. 125. 125. 125. $100. Is that $100? Number 8. 125. Nobody. Nobody. 120. 110. No. It's at 100. So 100 going once, going twice. Gone to number 8. And we're going to skip the next one. This is the one that we're asked to skip. So we're going to go to 685, 35, 173.
John, do you need a motion to pull that one?
No, at the end you can just include the one.
Okay, so it's 635, 35, 173, and I saw a number 1 out there, bidding $100. Is there 125 somewhere in there? 125? 125? 125? 125 from number 11. 125, 150 from number 1. 150, 175 from 11. 200 from number 1. 225 from number 11. Come on, keep it going. 300 from number 1. 325 from number 11. 325, we're at 325, 350, 350, 350 from number 1. 375, 375 from number 11. 400 from number 1. 400 number 1. Number 11. That's like 2 ones. 400, 425. No, 400, 425. No, 425. Okay, 400 going once. 400 going twice. Sold for $400. Well, not sold. I mean, we're just not there yet, but number 1, yes, bidder number 1. The next parcel is 188-25-002. And I will take $100 to start with. Number 8 offers $100. There's 125. 125. We're going to 150. Is anybody there that would like to offer 150 for this parcel? Number 9, 150. 175. Number 11, no. 175, no. 150, 150, 175. 175. We're at 150, 175. This is a good deal. Number 3, 175. 175. 200. Anybody wants to offer 200 for this parcel? It's a great deal. I think you already bid 175, so you don't want to bid. You don't want to bid again against yourself. So 175. What is it? 200. 200. Anybody bid 200? 175 going once. 175 going twice, and we'll take number 3. Bidder number 3. We'll move on 539, 35, 331. El Camino del Sol. Now, number 1, $100. 125, 150. We're at 150, 175. Anybody? 175? No, you're at 150. 175, number 9. 175, number 9. 200 from number 4. 225, anyone? 225, 225, 250, 275, 300, 300, number 4 is 300, number 11, 325, 325, number 4 is 350, 375, 400, come on, 425, someone, 425, 400, 400, number 4 is over 400. Is there 425 somewhere in there? 425, 425, 400, 425, anybody? 400. Going once, going twice. Right, 400. 395, 539, 35, 355. Again, another one in El Camino del Sol. They're pretty close to each other. So we'll begin up with 100, number 4. 125, number 9. 150, number 4. Come on, 175, 175. 200. 200 from number 4. Is there a 225 from number 9? 250 from number 4. 275 from number 7. A new bidder comes into play. 275. 200, 300. 300, 325, 350, 350, 375. 400 from number 9. 450 from number 7. Are you keeping that up, number 4? 450, 475. 475, now we're going to 500. 500? 500 from number 7. Is there a 525 in there somewhere? 500, 525 from number 4. 550 from number 7. 575? 575 from number 4. 600 from number 7. 625 from number 4. Come on, 500. Where are we? 575? 600? 600. 625 from bidder number 4. 650 from bidder number 7. 650, 675? 675 from number 4. 700 from 7. 725, number 4. That's a good parcel right there. So where are we?
725.
725. 725 from number 4. 725, 750? That's a 750. 750 from number 7. Is there a 775 somewhere in there? We've come a long ways, number 4. Huh? 750. 775 from number 11. 800 from number 7. 800 from number 7. 825 somewhere? 825? 825 from number 11. 850 from number 7. 850. 850. Anyone else? 850. 850 going once. 850 going twice. 850. We'll take in the next one, which would be 539, 43,304. And I'll take $100 to start with it. $100 from number 11, 125. 125 from number 9, 150 from number 11, 175 from number 9, 200 from number 11, 225, 250 from number 11, 275 from number 9, 300 from number 11, 325 from number 9, 350 from number 11, 375 from number 9, 400 from number 11, 425 from number 9, 450 from number 11, 475 from number 9, 500 from number 11, 525 from number 9, 550 from number 11, 550, 575. This was getting to be fun. 450, 475, 450.
550.
550. 550, sorry. Is there anybody else? 575? Okay. It's 550 going once, 550 going twice, 550 gone. We're going to take we're going to take a 10-minute break for a minute, guys, okay? Just need to sort some things out here. So give us 10 minutes, right? Are you there, Lynn?
I'm still here.
Yeah, we're gonna come back, okay?
Well, okay.
All right, we're gonna get this done. We're gonna move it through. As long as there's no close-ups, we'll be fine.
You're on.
All right, let's move it then. We're at 539, 43, 305. Okay, 539, 43, 305. Everybody settle in? Okay, we're gonna start the process again. And again, I'll repeat, 539, 43, 305. Start the bid up at $100 by number 11. $100, 125, 125, 125 by number 9. Number 11 bids 150, 175, 175, 175. Come on, guys, 150, 175. Who knows? You get lucky. 200. It's not. 225. 225 by 9. 250 by number 11. 275. 275. 275 by number 9. 300 by number 11. 300 by number 11. 325. 325 by number 9. 350. 350 by number 11. 350 by number 11. 375. 375. Come on, 375 by number 9. 400 by number 11. 400. She's trying to intimidate you now, right there. Number 11. 400. 425. 425. 425 by number 9. 450 by number 11. 450 by number 11. 475. 475 by number 9. 500 by number 11. 525. Come on, guys. 525. 525. We got a bid for 500, so 525. Anyone? Anyone? Okay, going once, going twice. 525.
Hey, 500, bidder number 11.
500.
Are you playing with me?
No, kidding.
So 500, bidder number 11?
Yeah.
The next one is 555, 41, 161. 555, 41, 161. Number 2, 400. 125, 125 by number 11. 200 by number 1. 225 by number 2. 250 by number 11. 275. 275. 275 by number 2. 300. 300 by number 11. 300 by number 11. 325. 325 by number 9. 350 by number 2. 375. 350. 375. 375 is the next amount. 375 by number 5. Okay, hold on. 375. 400 by number 9. Is there a 425 somewhere in there? 425 by number 5. 450. Somebody? 450. 450 by number 9. 475 by number 11. Is there a 500 somewhere in there? 500 by, for number 5, by number 5. 525. 525. 500 for number 9. Number 5, excuse me. 525? No. 525? No. Okay, then it goes for 500 to number 5.
500, bidder number 5.
All right, the next item is item 555, 41, 162. Is that correct? Or are we moving to 162?
162.
Okay, so we'll start the bidding with $100 for number 5, 125, 125, 125 by number 9, 150 by number 5, 175 by number 2. There's 200 somewhere in there. 200 by number 5. 225 somewhere. 225 by number 9. 250 by number 5. 275 by number 2. Is there a 300 anywhere? 300, 300, 300 by number 9. 325 by number 5. Is there a 350 somewhere? 350. Remember, we're doing this for the state, so you guys be generous. 325. 350, 350, 375, 375 by number 9, 400 somewhere? 400 by number 5, 425? 425. Remember, this is all to benefit the state. 425? 425? 450. Come on, 450. No? 425? 425 once? 425 twice? Number 5.
425 to bidder number 5.
The next one is 555 41 165, which is pretty much along the same, subdivision. It's a lot there. I'll start the bidding at 100 with 11, 125 with number 1, 150 with number 11. Is there 175 somewhere in? 175 by number 9, 300 by number 1, 325 by number 11, 325, 350, 350 by number 9, 375 by number 11. Is there a 400 in there somewhere? 400 by number 1, 425 by number 11, 450 by number 9, 475 by number 11, 500. It's a good, nice, round number, and it begins, it's a 5. 475, 500 by number 9, 525 by number 11, 550 somewhere? 550. No, 550. 550 by number 9. 550, 575. 575. 575? No. 550 by number 9. Okay, so there's 550 by number 9. Is there anyone else? No. 550 once, 550 twice. 550. Parcel 175 is 550.
550 to bidder number 9, parcel 165.
Okay, the next one is 555 41 166. Again, the same subdivision. I'll begin the bidding with $100. $100. Number 9. 125. No. 125. No. 150. No. 125. 125. It's a bid by 100. 125. 125 by number 3. 150. 150 by number 1. 175 by number 9. 200. 200 by number 3. 225 by number 1. 250 by number 9. Is there a 275 somewhere? Am I moving too slow? 275. 275. Is there a 200? 200 by number 9. 300. 3. Oh, you're moving too slow. 325. Come on, 300, 325 by number 9. 350. 350 by number 3. 375. 375 by number 9. Is there 400 in the house? No? Okay. 375. Now, 400. Come on, 400? No? 375 going once. 375 going twice. 375.
Is that number 3?
That was number 9.
Number 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
375 to bidder number 9.
All right, we're moving into parcel 555 42 159. The same Camino del Sol, a different lot. Is there a bid over $100? I'll entertain one. $100. Easy. This is okay. $100, 125. 125, 150. 150 number 3, 175 number 11. Is there a 200? 200 by number 3, 225 by number 11, 250. 250 by number 3, 275 by number 11. Is there a 300? 275, 300? 300, ma'am. 300 by number 3, 325 by number 11, 350. Nice round number in the 5s. 325, come on, 350. There's got to be someone there with $350 to spend on this beautiful lot. 325, 325, 350. No, 350, 325 once, 325 twice, no, 325.
325 to bidder number 11.
The next one, it's in the same vicinity, 555 42 170, in the subdivision Camino del Sol, lot number 1618. $100 will begin the process of somebody owning this. 100, 125 by number 11, 150 by number 2, 150 by number 2, 175 by number 11. Is there a 200 somewhere in the house? 200 by number 2, 225 by number 11, 250. 250 by number 2, 275 by number 11, 275 by number 11. Is there a 300? 300 by number 2, 325 by number 11. Is there a 350? 350 by number 2, 375 by number 11, 400, 400, 375. We're going to 400, 400, 375. Come on, going once. 375, going twice. 375 it is.
That went to me, right?
Yes,
Yes.
number 11.
375, bidder number 11.
The next one is 555, 42, 172, the same subdivision. And the lot number is 1620. We'll begin the bidding.
Hold on. I gotta step out.
Okay. We'll begin the bidding at 100 by number 2, 125 by number 11. Is there 150 by number 2? 300 by number 1, 325. Is there a 325 somewhere in the house? 325 by number 2. There are 350 somewhere. 350 by number 1. Is there anyone else? 350 by number 1, 375 by number 7, 400. Somebody, 400 by number 1. Is there a 425 somewhere in there? 425 by number 11, 450. 450 by number 1, 475. 475 by number 11, 500. Yeah, 500.
Number 7.
Number 7 is 500, 525 somewhere. I'm having a tough time crossing between 300, 400, and 500. So we're at 500, right? We're 500, number 7. Is there a 525? 525? 500, 525? 525 with number 5? Is there a 550 in there? 550? 550. There's 525. It's easy. 550 is an easy one. I think you'll get it if you go ahead and get it. No? 525. 525, 550, 550 with number 7, 550. Now 575. Nobody? 575. We're at 550. Giving you a couple of seconds to think about that. 550. Is it 550? 525. All right. 550. You know, somebody should have gone backwards in there. You know, and said, "Oh, I offer that." 550, number 7. Is there anyone else? 550 going once, 550 going twice. We'll take that 550 and move on to the next one, which is 555, 43, 173.
Was 550 to number 7.
Yep. Okay, 555, 43, 173. Same Camino del Sol, a different lot, 1621. You want to get them all together like that? Okay, so let's begin with $100. $100 for this. $100. Bidder number 2, 125. Bidder number 7, 150 somewhere. 150, 175 by number 2. That's 200. Anyone? 200 by number 11. 225. 225. Pretty good number. 200. 225. 225. 225 by number 2. 250 by number 11. 275. 275, 250, 275 by number 2, 300 by number 11. Is there a 325 in the house? 325, 300, 325. We're at 325. We're at 300, but, you know, 325 by number 2, 350 by number 11. So we're at 350, we go to 375. 375? 375? No, no one? Okay, we'll stick with 350, number 11. Going once, going twice. 350.
350, number 11.
And the next one is 683-64-011. It's at Citrus City, you know, lot number 159. Is there anyone offering 500 for by number 8, 525 by number 4?
700.
700 by number 10? 700? 1,000 by number 8? 1,025? 1,025? 1,200 by number 10? 1,200? 1,225 moves it to the next one. 1,225, number 4. Is there a 1,250? 1,250, 1,275.
You said 13.
13? Oh, wow. 1,300. 1350, number 10. 1375, number 4. 1375, add another 25 and you'll be the top bidder. There you go. 1,500 by 9. I thought we were. Yeah, 1,400.
Was it 14?
And then 1,425. 1,425. 1,450 by number 4. Thought I could sneak in 1,500, but it didn't work. 1,425?
No, you're 1450.
1450. 1450. 1475. 1475 by number 10. 1,500. 1,500 by number 4. 1,525. Come on, this is a good one. 1,525. No. 1,500. 1,525. No. 1,500 going once. 1,500 going twice.
1,500, bidder 4.
Next one is 684-34-016, and this is in Tacna, Central Tacna. Yeah, that's in the middle of that town. It's starts at $100. Who wants to? Oh, there you go. $100. Number 8, $100. 125, 150 by number 6, 175, 200 by number 1, 200, 225. 225 by number 6, 250 somewhere, somehow. 250 by number 1, 275 by number 9. There are 300 in the house. 300 by number 1, 325 by number 6. 350, 350 by number 9, 375 by number 1. Is there a 400? 400, 400 by number 9. There are 425. 425 by number 1. There are 450. 450 now, that's still pretty much reasonable. 9, 450 by number 9. 475 by number 1. Is there a 500? 500 by number 9. 525. 525. We got a 500. 525. 525. 525. No? 500 going once. 500 going twice.
500, bidder number 9.
We're now going to Citrus Park, and it's the parcel number is 685-35-003, and we'll start at $100. $400 number 8, 425 somewhere. 400 number 8, 500 by number 1, 525 by number 9. Is there a 550 somewhere? 525, come on, 550. 525, 550 by number 1, 575 somewhere, 575 by number 9. Is there a 600? 600 by number 1, 625. Come on, guys, 625. You may get it at this. 9, 625 by number 9. Is there a 650? 650 by number 1. Is there a 675 somewhere? 675, 675. We got a 650, we want a 675. 675 by number 9, is there a 700? 700 by number 1. Is there a 725 somewhere in there? 725? 725 by number 9. Is there a 750 in there? 725, 750, 750, 725, 725 going once, 725 going twice, 725.
725, bidder number?
9.
9?
Mm-hmm. The next one.
725, bidder 9.
Next one is 685-35-004. And this one is same subdivision, just a better lot. So let's begin it at 100, just to begin. I know this one's going to fetch a lot of money. Number 9. So it's 100. Where's 125? 125 by number 6. So 150. 150 by number 9. 300 by number 1. 325 by number 9. Is there a 350 somewhere? 400. 400 by number 8, 425, 450 by number 1. Is there a 475 somewhere? Come on, 475? This is even better than the lot before, so. 475? Said 450, right? So it's 475. 475? 475 by number 9. Is there a 500 somewhere? 500? 500. 500 by number 1. Is there a 525 in there? 525. Come on, you can get it for 525. Is there a 550 in there somewhere? 525 by number 9. Is there a 550? 550 by number 1. Is there a 575 by 9? By bidder number 9, 575. So we're looking at 600. 600? 600 by bidder number 1. 625 by bidder number 9. Is there a 550 in there? 650. 650 by number 1. Is there a 675 in there somewhere? 675. Come on, 675 by number 9. Is there a 700 in the books here? 700? Come on, 700. It's 675. 700. Nobody? 700? 675? 700. 675 once. 675 twice. So 675. We got 2 more. Is it 2 more to go?
Yep.
Okay.
675.
These are going to be the real nice ones, the real big ones. You better, this is your last chance. There's 2 of them. There's 2 of them, right? So, you can get a matching pair right here. This one is, yeah, you got citrus in there. 685, 35019. You can plant citrus in it probably. 685, 35019. Beginning at 100. Number 11 begins the bidding at 100. 125. 125 by number 6, 150 by number 3, 175, 200 by number 7, 225 by number 11, 500 by number 7, 525 by number 11. Is there a 550 somewhere? 550, 550 by number 1, 575, 575 by number 11. There are 600, 600 by number 1, 625 by number 11. Is there a 650 in there? 650. 650 by number 1. Are you keeping that sign up? 650. 675 by number 11. 700 by number 1. Is there a 725 in there somewhere? 700 by number 1. 725? 725? 700, number 1. 700, number 1. 700, number 1. Going once, going twice. Now, this is the cream of the crop. This is the big one.
Number 1.
The last one, 685, 35020. It's in the same subdivision. It matches the other one, and you can really grow some stuff in there. This was going really high because it's the last one. Okay, now let's begin it at $100. 400, 400, 400, 425, 500, 500 for number 1, 550, 525. 525, 550, 525. This is a no-brainer. 525, 550, 525, 525. There's a 550 now. 550 for number 1, 575 for number 7. There's a 600. It's a 600 by number 1. 625, 625, 625. Guys, this is still a very good deal. 625, 625 by number 9. 650. 650. 650 by number 1. 675. We're getting, come on guys, this is the last one. You're not going to get a chance to do this very often. So 625, 650. Have we at 625? 675? Okay then. 675?
Looking for 7.
Looking for 7, right.
Oh, 650, number 1, sorry.
See, I told you guys, I wasn't that wrong. 650 is 650 to the gentleman. Number 1. There are 675. 675? 675 by number 7. Is there a 700? 700 by number 1. 725. I think you're going to get it for 725. Come on. Nobody? You're going to let him take it for $700? Okay. 700 once, 700 twice. Gentlemen, take it. Okay, now.
700 to bidder number 1.
Okay, so now we have all the bids and all the parcels excluding parcel 631-56-080. I'm going to entertain a motion from the board approving all the bid amounts or accepting all those bid amounts with the exception of 635-56-080.
46, 157.
157 was the one that was pulled.
157?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was the one below that. I don't know why it's
Mr.
circled.
Chairman, I move that we accept all of the bids as registered, with the exception of parcel number 632-46157.
There's a second.
Second?
Lynn, are you there? Lynn?
Oh, I'm here. Sorry.
All right, I just wanted to make sure because we're gonna vote on accepting all these bids and we'd probably like to hear you.
Okay, thank
There's been a
you.
motion and a second to accept all the bids with the exception of 632-46-157. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
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 Anybody opposed? The motion carries. That takes care of the bid amounts. We're gonna take, how much time do you think you'll need? 15, 20 minutes? Well, we're gonna take a break so you guys can get done with that stuff. And we normally do this on a special session, but today we just had a very busy agenda. So we're gonna take maybe 10, 15 minutes to get all this done and we'll come All right, we're missing one member of the board, but he may not be necessary. So,
I'm here.
not you, it's Russell McLeod. He left for the little boys' bathroom, I think. So don't
Oh,
worry about it. You're in. We count
Tell
you.
on
We
him.
count you all the time. We coming.
okay.
All right. I said, we're missing one member, but it may not be necessary for the continuance of this meeting. And Lynn said, I'm here. I'm going, no, it's not you. All right, we do have, we're going back to the property auctions, and we have an item there for development service and engineering. And it says, in accordance with, ARS statutes, we'll conduct an auction at 9 a.m. or a schedule permits of assessor parcel number 664-01-067, a county-owned excess parcel, and authorize the county engineer to execute the documents transferring the property to the highest bidder at or above the minimum bid. If there are no successful bids, continue this item and authorize the county engineer to return this item to the board when there's sufficient interest to conduct an auction. Is there anyone here? Is there anyone here to bid? Come over and tell us so we can continue the item, to return it to the board when there is sufficient interest.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, our realtor called this morning.
Your name? We don't know who you are.
I'm sorry, Frank Sanchez, Engineering Division. Our realtor gave us a call this morning that the person interested on the property to submit a bid could not make it this morning. So he did ask if we could continue it until they can figure out which other date they can make it.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to continue this item and instruct the county engineer to return the item to the board when there's sufficient interest to conduct an action.
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
It's been a motion and a second to do so. Is there any discussion in the board? No? All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we got you. You voted twice, though.
Okay.
I mean, that's not allowed. That's good.
Hey.
All right,
What
so
can I say?
anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, we took care of that portion of it. We're now moving into, there's item number 4, we're gonna leave until the end, pair it together with the event calendar. Item number 4 is the county administration item on discussion and action. So I'll move the Yuma County Board of Supervisors and convene as the Yuma County Board of Equalization. Okay? And we're also sitting, as a board of equalization, and I'll open item number 1, which is action regarding petition for review of proposed tax roll correction for Northwestern Industries, Marvin F4 and Company, assessors parcel number 009-00-698, located at 7595 East 30th Street, Yuma, Arizona, filed by Rick Edwards, Marvin F4 and Company. We do have the presence of the county assessor. So, Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Late last week, we were able to come to a compromise with the taxpayer on this item. I apologize that it made it this far to the Board of Equalization. This is something that should have been negotiated out way before even the filing of the petition. But the property owner and the assessor's office are in agreement of the numbers that have been presented to you in your handout. So it's for 4 different tax years, and as you can see from the handout, there's a reduction from what the TRC value was, which this company got audited this last year, and there was one item in their property list that they objected to the value that we came up with. And after speaking with the property owner, we realized that we were probably a little heavy. So we agreed to a reduced value on one item.
Okay. Do you want to record the agreed value, or do you just want to say that you worked your thing out? What do we need to do to make sure that you can?
Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, I could read in the proposed full cash values into the record.
Yes.
So for tax year 2015, the proposed full cash value would be $515,161.
Okay.
For tax year 2016, the proposed full cash value would be $872,851. For tax year 17, $1,128,819. And for tax year 2018, $1,339,937.
Okay. So now you have it on the record. I entertain a motion to go ahead and make that Effective?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been motion and second to approve item, what is the item? Item number, item number one, for the Board of Equalization, based upon the stated numbers that were brought up by the assessor. Any other discussion on the item? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your patience.
Who's the second?
I did.
Thank you.
I'm now adjourning the Yuma County Board of Equalization and reconvening as the Yuma County Board of Supervisors to take on the planning and zoning agenda. Full legal description of the property sites for all rezoning cases are available for public review at the Yuma County Board of Supervisors office. Regular public hearing items, staff will make a full presentation of each of the following items, followed by separate discussion, public hearing, and action by the Board of Supervisors. First item is Development Service Planning Zone Division rezoning case number 18-16. Adrian Vega, agent for KDC of Yuma LLC, requests the rezoning of parcel 13.61 acres in size from general commercial to low density residential, 20,000 square foot minimum. Assessors parcel number 701-18-195, located on the northeast corner of Camino del Sol in Calle Ventana, Yuma, Arizona. Mr. Rubio?
Thank you, Chairman Reyes, members of the board. Juan de Rubio, senior planner with the Planning and Zoning Division. And this is a parcel that is 13.61 acres in size. He intended to rezone from C2 to R120. And this is to construct a residential subdivision
consisting of 16 lots for single-family residences. This is a aerial map of, a case map of the subject property, crosshatch parcel 195. Surrounding the property immediately to the north is property zone C2. Further north is, this is not working, there we go. The Wapa easement, zone R810. A little bit north of that is the Villa Royal condos, townhomes, zone R2. To the west of that is golf course, zone R810. Then single family residence, zone R120. To the west is property zone C2, location of a realtor's office. And south of that is El Camino Casitas, zone R2. And west of that is golf course again, zone R810. And to the south and to the east is Mesa del Sol number 2, zone R16. Portion currently vacant desert. To the east, zone R16, and north of that is R810, vacant desert.
Question.
Yeah.
The C2 in purple, is that the one that we had 4 or 5 years ago that was very controversial? Or is this the same property?
Chairman Reyes, actually, this is the same property that came to you some years back that was controversial.
This is the same property, right?
This parcel that we're the subject property today.
Okay.
I had that little cartoon showing that cyclist going up Camino del Sol, but that represents the bicycle pathway currently that connects from the frontage road all the way, goes all the way down to Avenue 90. This is the proposed standard map, currently in process, being called the Purple Mountain Ranch subdivision. Aerial imagery of the separate property, currently open desert and surrounding land uses. This is looking north at the subject property, looking east from the subject property, looking south from the subject property, looking west from the subject property. And the Planning and Zoning Commission is recommending approval with the following performance conditions. The ARS 121134 waiver, that an navigation disclosure statement be recorded, and the schedule for development that within 3 years approved by the board, that the owner or applicant record a final plat subdividing the property into 16 lots. As far as comments that we received from the public, highlighted in yellow are people that are not in opposition. They were kind of neutral. 3 of those are within 300 feet radius, and in red, people that are in opposition, that one of them within 300 feet radius. And the opposition has to do with the access to the property and increase in traffic. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Are there any questions for staff before I open the public hearing portion of the agenda?
I haven't heard any complaints.
Well, yeah, I'll go back to my original question. A few years ago, this was like,
Yeah, well, don't bring it up.
what changed? Any idea?
Chairman Reyes, members of the board, the reason for that level of opposition at that time was because of the density that was
It was a
being
very high
proposed at
density,
that time.
which was
The
much higher.
density, the number of dwelling units per acre that would be allowed.
Oh, so
with
this
that
is much
proposal.
lower.
These are bigger lots. These are 20,000 square foot minimum lots. Some of them are a third of an acre, bigger custom homes.
Yeah. It was the density issue and the traffic and so forth. It's pretty condensed area on there, pretty dense area. Not condensed, but dense.
There was 16 homes?
Yeah, I think we actually denied it, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Mr. Simmons? Supervisor Simmons?
Mr. Chairman, it was 16 homes going into this area?
That is what's being proposed.
Not many with that
No,
size
no,
of
no.
an area.
No. That's why I don't think it has much opposition, as opposed to the last time we dealt with it, which was pretty heavy. The opposition was pretty heavy.
Right.
I'm gonna open it up to the public. Is there anyone here in the public either representing the applicant or that wants to address the board on this issue? I'm always reminded everybody to, quit while you're ahead, but.
Afternoon, morning. It's Jim Curley, 6720 East Mission Street. I'm the owner of the property. Mr. Chairman, members, just here to answer questions. The only reason there's only 16 lots is availability of sewer is not feasible, and the state will only allow me 16 lots. I'd put more if I could, but.
Right. Well, I think this makes it easier for us because, again, before that, the density was an issue, and it doesn't seem to be now. More access points, those type of things, which are normal. But I always found it very difficult to see how people complain about density when you're living in like a, little lot. But
The only comments I've had is the location of the entrance being opposite the entrance to the Mesa del Sol 2, which is kind of what I think the county would want it for
the design
traffic flow.
thing.
Valley Ventana?
Yeah. But the lots are mostly around 30,000 square feet, about 3/4 of an acre gross. So.
Okay, well.
I've had lots of positive already input, people, inquiring about buying lots, so it's.
All right. Well, thank you.
Nice fill in that last vacant property in the middle of Mesa del Sol.
All right, good. Thank you. Any questions from the applicant? No? Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public that wants to address the board? No? If not, I'll turn it back to the board for their decision. Mr. Simmons, it's in your district.
I move that we, let me enlarge this so I can read it. Rezoning case number 18-16 that we accept the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
Then motion and second to accept the recommendation for approval of the parcel, the rezoning case number 1816. Any other discussion or any more discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And I'd like to remind everybody that Supervisor Pancras is still with us. Okay, did I say anybody opposed?
Thanks for waiting.
Okay. So now I'm going to item number 2, Development Services Planning and Zoning Division discussion concerning possible text amendments to the Yuma County zoning ordinance concerning section 306.03, which is a certificate of exemption, section 309.00, section 401.01, the application for amendment or change, section 1201 permits, section 1201.01 zoning inspector, Arizona Revised Statutes, Title 11, Chapter 6, Article 2 permits, section 1208 withholding of permits, section 1209.01 commencement of action and notice of hearing. All right, Maggie, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maggie
Remember,
Castro.
you're between us and lunch.
I will try and make it brief. These are the changes that were proposed by the Planning and Zoning Subcommittee, Planning and Zoning Commission Subcommittee. The committee was formed about a year ago, and over the course of approximately 8 to 9 months, several meetings were held with the subcommittee and staff
to go over some changes that were proposed to the zoning ordinance. The sections that were included on the description of the agenda item were section 306.03, 309, 401.01, 1201.00, 1201.01, 1208.00, and 1209.01. The changes that were proposed are on the staff report included with your packet, and the changes are in strike and bold format. The Planning and Zoning Commission did review the changes and forwarded the item to the Board of Supervisors to obtain additional input from the board.
Any questions from the board?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, then begin with your first one.
Yeah, let me go back and find these pages so I can start with page 303 on your packet. So this is under the memorandum from the planning and zoning. Looks like there's duplicates in here, right, Maggie?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, Supervisor McLeod, so duplicates of the staff report or?
Yeah, there's. Okay, yeah, I was looking at 11/29/18, but my notes are with 1/29/19. So for the board, it's in starting at page 303.
Right,
and Maggie, for you, it's page 4.
The last staff report that was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission is the one dated January 10th of this year.
Yeah, that's the one I'm in, page 4 for you. Paragraph D. Any work done prior to 1998 where the county is unable to locate a permit, the presumption will be such work was originally permitted by the county unless the county can establish otherwise. How would the county establish that there wasn't a permit if they can't find one? If we presume that paragraph to be true.
Mr. Chairman, this is a language that was provided by the Planning and Zoning Commission subcommittee members. Staff does have opposition to some of the changes that are being proposed. This one was an item that, again, the subcommittee members proposed, and they picked 1998 based on the fact that I believe that's when the new permit software,
yeah, I understand that, sure.
The existing permit software was brought online, and they felt that 1998 would be a good year to establish as a cutoff year for when staff is unable to find permits for a certain structure or certain use on the property.
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't know if this is a legal term, but it seems like an oxymoron. How do you, if you don't have a permit on file, how do you prove that it wasn't permitted? I mean, I don't want anything in our zoning ordinance that is that's lacking great wisdom, I guess. You can't do that. That's not, it's nonsensical. And sorry to interrupt you. Is there a report in here on the sections that the staff disagrees with? I didn't see that.
Mr. Chairman, no, at this time we're here to obtain input on the proposed changes. At the time that this item is taken to the Planning and Zoning Commission as a commission initiative or for the public hearing on the proposed changes, then staff will present our input or standing on the proposed changes.
Well, it might have been helpful to have that today, rather save time.
Like I stated, this is not a public hearing item as far as the item was not advertised as being an item
Ready
for
to
the
be,
board,
ready
for
to
the
be
board to
implemented.
take action on the proposed
No,
changes.
this is a discussion. This is where you ask those kind of questions.
Well, okay, yeah,
Yes.
I just don't understand that paragraph. It
And-
just doesn't make sense.
Well, he was trying to, I think he was trying to achieve exactly the opposite of what's coming up, which is that if you can't prove that he had a permit, then it would be assumed that he did, which means that you wouldn't go back and say, because he doesn't have a permit, you go through that process. And they were trying to
Yeah.
sort of make it so that if you can't prove it otherwise, then assume that it was permitted type of thing. And obviously, that really
The
is
part that
kind of
gives me the
difficult.
heartache is unless the county can establish otherwise.
That's what I
don't
mean.
know
That's where
how you
I
could
think
possibly
it's
do
from.
that. So that's my input on that one.
And Mr. Chairman, if the board would like that's
Mhm.
portion of the item D stricken, then this is a time to provide that input to staff.
Well, no, I don't.
I don't think so, because does that make sense to you?
No, it
Mr.
doesn't.
Chairman?
What would make more sense to me is that you would have the older section and then the newer section, the recommendations, side by side, so we can see exactly what the change will imply.
Mr. Chairman, what you see in bold
Mhm.
print is
That's the
proposed
changes.
new language.
Well, I'd like to see, Maggie, a couple of things. Next time this comes back, of course, we'll have the staff's comments, right, that we don't have today. And then I would like you to supply us with this memo with bold and strike through of anything that changes between now and then, if that makes sense. So we'd have a couple of things to look at, right?
Mr. Chairman, if the board does not have any changes to what was forwarded by the Planning and Zoning Commission, this will be what comes back to you.
Oh, no, there's
So-
changes. I'm not done.
Okay, thank you.
But I would like to see what changes from this document to the next time it's presented to us.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, okay?
And-
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Sure, and just one more comment. And it may be easier for us to take this item, like one at a time or two at a time, instead of all these amendments at the same time. Some of these are going to be not controversial, but some of them are going to some of them are going to take a lot of legal input in them, whether you actually can do that. I mean, especially the appeal process and, whatever, I think that I see what they're trying to do, and I tend to agree with it, especially because they're sort of trying to make it so that we have more authority over some of this stuff. But the way to get to it may be a little different, and it may not be necessarily possible. So I'd like to take more time with some of these changes before we implement them.
Mr. Chairman, what we can also do is break these up by the case. Instead of bringing one case with all the amendments together, we can split them up by article of the zoning ordinance. So the
Is that what you're
changes
looking at?
to
That's what I'm
section
looking at.
306 would come forward to the board under one case. The changes to section 401 would move forward under a different case, and so forth.
There's
I'm
a
okay
lot of
with
stuff
that.
in there. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. And
Okay.
most of the stuff, I think, goes along with the philosophy that we have to make it less complicated. But some of that stuff might run into, some legal roadblocks, statute
Yeah.
roadblocks.
I can continue, Mr. Chair.
No, but you can't.
The next page for the board, page 304, Maggie, page 5. Under 120901, paragraph A, item I, signed written complaint submitted to the zoning inspector by a member of the public identifying the complete name of such person. I will never agree to that. Okay, just so the board knows, that's unacceptable.
What is it?
Mr. Chairman.
A signed written complaint submitted to the zoning inspector by a member of the public identifying the complete name of such person. That's going to lead to neighbor wars, and we should not be doing that. We should not be promoting pitting neighbor against neighbor.
But we also shouldn't be promoting people just complaining anonymously, because
If the complaint is justified.
Well, but the
It's been that
problem.
way.
Well, I know that, but I mean, that's what the problem sometimes is. I mean, people already have problems neighbor to neighbor, and that's how they want to use the county to effectively, involve us in it. So,
Mr. Chairman, right,
22 people down
the
below.
proposed change would prohibit staff from acting on anonymous complaints.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If that's the case, are we required to disclose the name of that person to the person whose property is being inspected? Or can it be shielded? Because you have, public records requests. Is there a way to shield the name of the complainant?
Mr. Chairman, if we're required to obtain the name of the person filing the complaint, then that information would not be able to be redacted from a public records request.
Yeah, and I think
There's no way around that?
Mr. Chairman,
No.
and I
Okay,
looked
I
over to
figured.
legal counsel. He can provide additional input if you'd like.
Yeah, but
Okay. And then 120905, paragraph J. The county's appeal of the Board of Supervisors' decision shall require the Board of Supervisors to express authorization for an appeal. I think that goes against statute, doesn't it? Okay. That's what I thought.
That's what I'm talking
I don't
about.
know how this gets to us with things that are,
Well, I understand where it comes
confusing
from.
or violate statute. I mean,
Again,
what you
Mr.
could put
Chairman?
in there is the planning director shall inform the board. Okay, that's the language I think that would be acceptable. I don't think that would violate statute then.
And that's one of the
Mr.
reasons.
Chairman, these were changes or suggested changes by the Planning and Zoning Commission subcommittee. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended that these proposed changes be brought to you.
And that's what we're doing.
And when, at the time of the Planning Commission's public hearing, some of these issues or some of these questions some of the proposed changes may be stricken based on input from legal counsel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's exactly my point when I say that if we bring each one of them, for example, and you just mentioned one, the anonymous complaint. I mean, that's not really, I really hate to think that we do that we allow someone to just simply come and say, so-and-so has this, and there's no way to get back to find out if that person is doing it for another reason. I'm actually, in this particular case, I'm actually opposed to not, to having people, complain anonymously. While he's looking at protecting the privacy of that individual, I'm saying if you're going to bring it up, I mean, in most cases, justice cases, I mean, you need to face your accuser, and that's actually accusing someone of doing something that isn't proper or legal or whatever. Now,
That way the whole time you've been on the board.
I know that, and that's one of the reasons why it's being addressed, I suppose, because it's been there. I mean, most of this stuff are changes to something that's been the way we operate for years. It's so the only thing that, I think that we need is to take each one of these cases individually and then have staff give us a recommendation, have the Planning and Zoning Commission or their recommendation, and then take it up to legal and see if it's possible to make that change, legally possible to make that change. And then once we know if it's legally possible, then we can make a decision on it. That's a process. Is there any other, you need to continue?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm really curious to hear from the other board members on the.
Well, we've been
privacy
at it for a
issue.
long time.
No, I agree with you on the privacy issue, because I mean, it's kind of like when somebody calls in a report of, anything, you don't want them to know because they're afraid of retribution. Or a lot of times people won't call in because if they have to give their name, they're afraid of retribution coming back from whoever they're complaining on.
No, I do have a question. How many of these do we get lately? I know it used to be there was a lot. I'm not aware that we have a whole lot of them now.
Mr. Chairman, are you?
Talking about
By
complaint,
neighbors
anonymous
against
complaint.
neighbors, anonymous complaints.
I would say that most complaints from neighbor to neighbor are filed anonymously. Normally, the person making the complaint files it. They call our office and indicates that a certain property has a violation. And the majority of the time, they prefer not to disclose their name.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Okay, I'm sorry.
Hey, look, in a criminal case, I believe that should be the case. I mean, that's why we have these anonymous numbers that you call in to the police department. But on a civil, in a civil case like this one, this is mostly civil stuff. Sometimes what happens is you get involved in some, some conflict between neighbors that, really that's the only reason they're reporting it. I know it exists because that's, how you, but then again, the neighbor can report his own, when he gets a complaint, then he starts complaining about the other one, turns them in, and then it becomes, the county gets involved in a lot of this stuff. Anyway, you wanted to say something? Hold on.
My my deal with someone with, or comment with someone reports things anonymous, that the inspector goes out there and then he sees other things around that area, and when you're asked, or they're asked who reported it, and they say it was anonymous, when they didn't report that. And because I've happened, and so if we're not going out there to look at other things, I know if it's a safety issue,
if it's a health issue,
yeah. But when they're called to for a certain item or a certain part of it, you know, there's things that, yeah, I have a problem with that, because just let me give you an example. There's a property that had a horse that has a horse there, and it's been like for 20 years, that place that has had a horse. No one complained about it, and as soon someone complained about another part, another issue, inspector goes out there and all of a sudden issues a citation or that he needs to get rid of that horse. When that property had that horse for the longest time and was never brought up. So those are the things that I kind of, you know, if we're not driven by, or we're only driven by an anonymous, but no one reported that horse, why are we going after that person?
Was it on the same property or a different
A
property?
different property.
We're not doing that anymore.
Wow.
We think we're not.
We think we're not. Because you know, I've heard that before, but we're still doing that.
Mr. Chairman, when staff receives a complaint about a property, staff inspects the property that is being complained on. Now, if there are other violations other than the horse, say there's junk on the property that was complained on, the inspector is going to know all violations, not just the fact that there's
He's talking about
a
a
farm
separate-
animal that is not allowed on that property.
Yeah, but
We, unless there's a health and safety issue on a different property, we do not inspect other properties.
we used to, but we don't.
The
anymore.
inspector inspects the property
Just
that,
happened, yeah.
where the complaint
Look,
was filed
that's
on.
human nature. You know, this item is going to take a lot more discussion. It's going to take us taking every one of these situations almost individually. It's probably going to take one of those work session things that we, you know, normally set up, and then we bring case by case, and then we discuss, you know, what the pros and cons to get it to this point. This is, obviously, some of these changes are changing the way we have done things for a long time, and to me, that's going to take a little more careful review than we are probably going to do today. And what you wanted was direction, and I think the direction is some of these items are going to take more time. They're going to take more than just a precursory look, which is what we do when staff brings them to us. Most of the time, staff brings it to us to correct something or to amplify something and to make that change because it's now, you know, that's not how we do things. But these ones are more, you know, some of them are philosophical. Some of them involve, you know, the process, not so much the regulation, but the process we go about it, and whether, and just by reading some of them, you know, for example, the one where, you know, the Board of Supervisors gets sued, you know, by the staff, you know, for something, and I know that's I saw that there. That is somebody else making an effort to sort of improve the situation because they feel that that's not proper or something. But, you know, that's going to require staff, legal staff, you know, coming in and saying, look, that's not something that you guys can change. That's on statute, whether you like it or not, that's on statute and you can't change it. And those are the kind of things that I think need to come back to us in a work session environment where we can talk about them first before we bring them out for a vote. Because at the end of the day, some of us may not, you know, may not vote for different reasons.
I think that's what we're doing today.
Mr.
I know,
Chairman?
but I mean, this is like 12:30, 12:20. Do you want to keep doing this? And without, well, what I wanted to do is be specific about it, okay? We're going back and forth in different things, and
Mr. Chairman, would you like this item rescheduled as a work session?
I
We
would.
can also do that.
Oh, no, I would prefer you take it back, get the process going through planning and zoning where staff can comment on each of these things, and then bring that back to us.
Haven't you done that already?
Mr. Chairman, what went to the Board of Supervisors, I'm sorry, to the Planning and Zoning Commission was a discussion item.
That was a discussion item.
It was a discussion
And
item.
when you bring it to us, it's sort of like a progress report of where you're at. And you want some direction about some of these things.
What is before you today is a discussion item to obtain input on the proposed changes. If the board agrees with the changes that the Planning and Zoning Commission is proposing, Staff will then send it back to the Planning and Zoning Commission as a commission initiative to amend the zoning ordinance.
That's why I'm coming. See, that was my understanding.
Okay.
This is the time to say, I like this, I don't like this. I don't know that I did a highly thorough review as much as when you start bringing it back. But those are the things that jumped out at me that I would like to take back. I mean, why bring something to the board that's an oxymoron or that's, violates statute? Although I like the part about notifying.
Well, it may be easier for us because we've been involved with this process for years than it would be for some of the new members to understand what used to be and what's happening now. And it may bring in issues like the one that Supervisor Porch just brought a minute ago, where the perception or the perspective is different. I mean, we've been at it for a while, but I mean, I don't know if you guys really, if what's in front of you is enough for you guys to sort out what is a change that changes the way we do things, as opposed to a change that's going to require statute, compliance with statute and so on and so forth. So I don't know. I mean, it may be, again, I just wanted to give you guys more time to review some of this stuff
I've got a question, Mr. Chairman, on this, because I was contacted. The zoning recommendation, it was C2, and then it went to C16.
Well, I don't know which one he's talking about.
On this one?
Which one?
I was called on it, and I'm curious, I don't know.
Mr.
And
Chairman,
then now it's C20?
Are you talking about a specific case, Supervisor?
No, on this case here, the zoning.
We're not on the case, are we?
Or this one here,
Which one is it?
This one we're on.
The text amendment?
On the item?
On the item? I don't know, that's what I'm asking. I don't know if that was part of it. Somebody contacted me, because I guess it keeps changing. I don't know.
Mr. Chairman, that sounds like a comment on the previous case, rezoning
Yes,
case 1816.
Yeah, that was a comment on
I
the
may have
previous
got the wrong one.
Yeah.
And looking at it though too, this is the subdivision that's going in, right?
No, we're talking about text
This is
amendment.
text amendment.
This is a text amendment. This is the next item. We took the other item already.
Okay, I may have looked at it
So,
wrong
yeah,
then.
so we're at Development Services Planning and Zoning Division, and we're discussing text amendments
Okay, I may have
to
put
the
my
zoning
notes on the
ordinance.
wrong one.
And, we're talking about whether we're at that level where our opinions right now or suggestions right now given to staff are going to mean that they're taken back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for the further discussion. And I wanted to make sure that, again, some of the new members understood what we were trying to do here. Some people would say.
Mr. Chairman, if
Okay, never mind. I think I did put them on the wrong notes.
the board does
Disregard.
not propose any changes to what is before you today, the changes that will go back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a commission initiative
Final
to
review.
amend the zoning ordinance.
I already requested changes.
And I have taken note of the changes that were suggested by
See, but
Supervisor.
the thing about this though, no, what you gotta
I thought I saw
understand.
you writing.
Yeah, but you gotta, wait. You need to, well, you don't need to do anything, but you should understand that the opinion of one board member does not necessarily match the opinion of the other board members. For example, if he says, I don't like to have a person, who identities be known, and I say I do, what does that tell you?
That I'm right. Simple.
Mr. Chairman, the official action would be the motion that the board takes and.
Yeah, that's what
the
I'm saying,
motion
but you said that
passes.
you didn't want a motion from us today, that you just wanted recommendations.
Right.
Okay, well, if you just take one at a time, if you just take one, that one, and we take a vote right now, and three of us say, no, we want people who report to know that they're reporting and that they will be known when they report. That's one, just one. And that's going to involve some discussion between us here. Because what I don't want you to do is to believe that just because one supervisor has an opinion about something, that means you get directions to take it back. And that's what you're implying right now when you said, whatever you say, I'll take it back. Well, that's why I like to get a better process established for this. Before we send it back to the Planning and Zoning Commission with recommendations from us, I'd like us to agree what those recommendations are going to be. Because the opinion of one member or two members don't matter. The opinion of three members will matter. And that requires action. And that is an action the board takes as a board. So Lynn, Supervisor Pancrase, who was listening over the phone, may have a different opinion if she knew what she was looking at.
I do. I think we should be aware of who's making the complaint.
See, that's what
Sorry.
I mean when I say, well, I like.
That's where I'm at. But
Right.
I think we need more information before we vote on this. I want to take every single one of those changes and do something in depth with them so we know how the planning and zoning feels about them, issues that have come up because of them, issues that haven't been addressed because of them. I want to know why they're coming to us right now and what propagated that, what made that happen, why are we considering these changes, and who and why are we, why are we doing this?
Maggie,
Everything is, that's my feeling.
Okay.
I don't think we have enough information.
That's right, and that's why I want to set it up as a work session, because I like to get a little deeper into some of these issues before we give you a recommendation to take back to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I like to make sure that it is something that we like to have addressed, as opposed to, and at the end of the day, zoning department, the board, zoning board, they can do commission initiatives and send it to us anyway for our discussion, and we would discuss them at the time we need to make a decision. But it would be nice for them to know how we feel about some of them before they bring them up, which is actually kind of the opposite of what we normally do.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of what we normally do, because then we'll be telling them what we want to see or not. But a work session does not necessarily mean we make a decision. A work session means that you take a consensus of what we think and take it back to the board saying, the consensus in the board is that, this is not an item they want changed or something. And so that we can save ourselves a little bit of time. But that's what I like to do, if we may.
But Tony, but Mr. Chairman.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, but I'd like to have some more background information at that work session.
Yeah, Lynn,
I want some background information to why
why we're asking.
Why it's being proposed. Yeah.
And that's what you get at the work session. I mean, I think that right now what Maggie's taking notes on is what we like to see at that work session, what kind of information we'd like to see at the work session. And we've got plenty. I mean, it's not like you didn't provide us with information. It's just that I think this one will probably require a little more in-depth study before we start, sending a message, because that's probably what we'll do, send a message back to the Planning and Zoning Commission, okay? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Maggie,
Is that okay with you guys?
When you come back with the work session, will you have input and comments from staff at that time?
Yeah. That's the work session is going to be with staff.
No,
Well, Mr. Chairman, staff will provide you with input at that time, and so will legal counsel.
Okay, all right,
okay,
good.
at the time you bring it back to us,
Right.
before the commission initiative.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, good. Maggie, thank you very much, okay? All right. I think we have, one discussion item left, which was the legislative, I think I skipped the county administrator, discussion and possible action regarding the following legislative item: a report to the Board of Supervisors regarding proposed bills in the Arizona State Legislature with impact to Yuma County, an update from the Board of Supervisors, the county administrator, and any results from the trip to Washington, D.C. after meeting with the congressional delegation. Okay? I don't know.
Sorry,
I thought
I'm sorry. I'll call you.
Okay.
Don't pay too much attention to that call. Go ahead, Paul.
Mr. Chairman, members of
Yeah,
the
Pat,
board,
thank
Paul
you.
Melcher, Director of Economic Development, Legislative Affairs. Quickly, you have the report in front of you. I highlighted that with a mixture of CSA bills, the most important election bills that are coming up, and also for Supervisor McLeod, the update on the State Lake Fund at the very end, so you get a sense of where that's moving forward. There are 2 weeks left for bills to be heard in committee, so they'll be coming down to the final stretch here. We're still watching and monitoring a lot of the bills to see some that moved over from either the House or the Senate to the House or the Senate. We're just tracking those to see if they're getting any traction. And the most notable one on there that I would mention and not getting to that much detail is the 2 bills that are HB 2320 and Senate Bill 2001, which relate to the Highway Safety Fund repeal and then the action to have the legislature set that fund and that amount each year. For Supervisor McLeod, I did go back really quickly. I wanted to do this before I forget. That $14 million amount that was included as part of the winter visitor study this morning, that is the actual dollars collected, not fair value of that. So that's the asset that you could look at in relation to the value of the winter visitors who own houses in Yuma County who also reside in other areas. So just to clarify that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if you had any other feedback in relation to the talking points priorities, I'd be welcome to hear that as well.
Lynn, do you have any comments?
Nope.
All right.
No comment, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Do we keep moving to the report on the trip to Washington? That's in this one here. You want to keep going?
So, well, Mr. Chair, that was my question right there on your trip to Washington. If you have any feedback that you received that you'd like me to follow up on any of the talking points or any other items, because we sent up the 2 additional, one for the U.S., Mexico, Canada, and then for the national heritage areas too.
Well, in my particular case, I'll tell you that to me, the surprising thing is how much some of these issues were, how much knowledge some of these issues, some of the congressmen had about some of these issues. Specifically to me, I was surprised that Congressman Grijalva was so aware of what's going on with some of this stuff, some of the particular items that we brought to him. I think that everybody out there understands what PILT is about, but when we go down the list and we go into immigration bills, when we go into the free trade agreement and so on and so forth, it was to me, I was a little surprised. It's always, he's pretty much up on this, but, I didn't get a sense that, we were telling him something he didn't actually know. Now, I didn't have an opportunity to meet with Senator Sinema and Senator McSally on the breakfast that you guys had, but I had an opportunity to meet with her staff last week. I was in Washington back again last week, and I had a meeting at their offices, which are temporary, as a matter of fact. They have temporary offices. They still haven't moved into their permanent offices. And the most surprising thing to me was, to begin with, on Sinema's staff, the fact that they were so different, I'll say it that way, so different in philosophy and perception as compared to the former Senator McCain and former Senator Flake. Sinema's office was, maybe I gotta go back and, put a little history behind it. When you went to meet with Senators McCain or Senator Flake, they would actually make it clear to you that they weren't really much into appropriation process, which to them was like, pork. I didn't get that feeling from Sinema or McSally's staff. They seemed to be keenly aware of the needs of the county and were more than willing to talk about how can we help directly. That was a welcome change to me after going years and years up to the senator's office. And again, it may be because I had an opportunity to meet with them one-on-one as opposed to the meeting that you guys all had at the breakfast meeting. So that was kind of nice. I'd find that refreshing, that there's some perception that they can actually do something individually for us at the county level. They talked about cities, they talked about counties, and they talked about specific items that counties and cities may need where they can be helpful. And that, to me, was good. Anything else, guys? From your perspective, you didn't go, so. You, Supervisor McLeod?
No, other than, I'll let
okay.
Susan comment on a couple of things that we took away from that.
One of the things that we did get some interest on was the federal tax interchange program, and we're very thankful that we provided the actual bill. And then there was a question from staffers, a debriefing on all of our meetings.
What'd you do? Did you fill out paperwork?
Gotta get closer because I don't think they can hear you.
Oh, no wonder. Okay.
Lynn was just going like, what is she saying?
So we got a lot of interest on the federal tax intercept program, and I'll follow up with Paul on who to contact with more details on that. Also with the committees that the various senators and congresspeople are on, that might help us target which particular bills we want to push to those individuals because they do have a position of authority in order to push those for us. Also, they're very supportive of PILT, and I think there was some interest. I'm not sure if any of them can do it, but interest in a multi-year solution rather than us going year to year to year asking for PILT and having that uncertainty in our budgeting. So I'll follow up with Paul and get with the staffers that represent each of the Congress people, and we have all of their contact information from our trip as well. I think it was very enlightening. I think they're open to helping the county and to helping Arizona as a whole. So I'm looking forward to what we might be able to come up with. The other thing that came out of it was was the broadband testing app. So sent that information to the Center for Desert Excellence as well as GYEDC to try to start getting the word out. Kevin's going to be doing a press release on that so that we can prove what our actual broadband speeds are, which is most likely very much lower than what the industry says it is and what the FCC believes it is. So I think that information can help us with putting pressure on the providers to increase the bandwidth and the capacity of our internet for our farmers and for just the general public to get better access to broadband and to internet.
No, sure. Go ahead.
On the tested app, I did find out that when you run that test, it reports to NACO, so you don't have to do anything else. So, the general public, please download it, test it, all one word, and run them often wherever you are in the city. Just run that. It takes maybe 30 to 45 seconds.
Let's make
sure it goes into NACO, and they're compiling that information. So it'd be very helpful. The better we can get that word out. And we've been talking for years about the tax intercept. And the reaction that we got was very positive. It's the first time it's just been, in my recollection, there's been such a positive feedback.
Because the Democrats are in charge.
So it's encouraging. So yeah, thanks for following up on that.
Yeah, Supervisor Porches.
Wanted to make a comment on the H2A that there was also, we got, actually that those changes probably don't need to go through Congress. So that was good to hear. Maybe that's something that we can go straight to that department and maybe those changes will happen sooner. So.
Yeah. Anything else from anyone? No? Then we'll move on to the, thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your input.
There was a gentleman here a while ago that wanted to talk to me about the Western Arizona Economic Board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alan Pruitt?
Yeah, Alan.
Yes.
So make sure that we meet with him sometime in the next couple of weeks. Okay. Thank you. Anything on the events calendar? No?
Yeah.
Oh, you? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Lynn, we'll get to you in a minute.
What was that, Tony?
Oh, I'm moving into the events calendar, and because you're not here, I'm going to start with Supervisor McClung.
I don't want to try and do that over the phone.
Okay, good.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Bye, guys. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Attended this past week the CSA Legislative Policy Committee meeting, and then after that the ACO board meeting. Attended the GYEDC board meeting, NACO legislative conference, as we just mentioned. Also attended, along with Supervisor Pancrase, the Library Volunteer Appreciation Luncheon. ACO LPC the Friday before. Also took advantage of an opportunity to go to the Foothills Library and attend the little presentation they did on their program is called Libraries Enabling Assistive Discovery. They held an open house at the Foothills, and it was really interesting. I'm glad that I went. I learned a lot about how that stuff works, and it's great that we're providing that kind of an outlet for children, particularly with autism, but also other challenges. I had the privilege of presenting on county government at the Flynn Brown Foundation. That was really glad they asked. I enjoyed that a lot. another CSA LPC meeting and CSA board meeting several weeks ago, and also joined in the GYEDC dinner with a site selector. And GYEDC received a lot of interesting input that was very enlightening and a great education for those who are trying to help with economic development insofar as what do site selectors look for, and even more importantly, what gets you excluded very quickly so you can avoid those things. And so I think it was time very well spent. And and thank you to those out in the public, some of our farming community, Center for Desert Excellence in Desert Agriculture, also met with those folks, and the site selector was very impressed. So in the airport, and they just toured them around, and so that's all I got.
Good. You're making us not miss Lynn. Go ahead, Supervisor Simmons.
I came in on the tail end of that out there at the library. That was interesting, the way the stuff they had set up back there in the
Oh,
back.
did you? Oh, yeah.
Got there a little bit late, but it was very interesting what they're doing.
Who knew a kid would want to crawl inside that little pipe thing?
But that and had a community meeting between last week and this week. Hot topic, state and trust land. So that's about it.
Supervisor Borges.
I attended the Border Coalition's meeting in Tucson last Thursday. There was the new staff for McSally and Cinema were there, and so and they give monthly reports of, so they're aware of all the issues that are going on along the border. So that was good.
Okay. All of us, well, some of us went to Washington, D.C. to go kind of talk about county issues. I went back a week later to talk about housing issues and had an opportunity to, again, on a one-to-one basis, talk to some of the staff members for both Cinemas and McSally's, both senators. And like I said, it was refreshing to hear from them that they seem to be more focused on individual items that affect the county, in this particular case, the whole of Yuma County, not just portions of the county. And what concerns affordable housing, they seem to be very, very aware. I think that what helps is that the staffing that they have, they carried from the time they were congressmen. So that means that they were dealing with individual issues from their district as opposed to dealing with statewide issues. And that really helped because it narrows their focus onto more local issues as opposed to national issues and state issues. Because now, the point that I made to them is that now they represent the whole state, but they still need to keep that focus on local issues and be of help at the local level, not just at the state level or federal level. And it seems to be a message that was well received. So to me, that was very good. I don't have anything else. Is there anything else? No, if nothing else, then there's no items to be discussed, so this meeting is finished. Thank you very much. This was a long meeting, so I thank you all for your